Happy Hump Day, everyone. Welcome to the Event League. That's it. It's not 100%. It is the Event League and Season 5 of ALR doing the Event League. Let go. Back with 100% effort then. Back with 100% effort then, Alexander is saying. And Equals then with a lovely emoji heart figure jig. Great 17th, and of course, very disappointed. A lot of you probably wondering where Luke is. Of course, Luke will be the main commentator for most of this season. So you've sadly got me this afternoon, and also this afternoon or this evening. And also, I must also extend a absolute heartfelt and I'm just massively apologetic to Brabbit, who I miss as 100% 100%. I'm 100% everywhere, aren't I? The 100th Grand Prix start for Brabham on Sunday, and of course, he also did a very special helmet as well, which I also failed to miss. I am absolutely ashamed of myself. I like to think I'm an expert in helmets, but I certainly am not these days. But yeah, I apologise profusely to Brabham making his 100 start. Of course, made his 50 start in gold then. So basically, Brabham's been in in gold for 50% of his 50% of his career in ALR. So good stuff indeed there, Brabham. But I've got it in my calendar as well on Sunday to make sure that I mention that because that is very important. However, I've been waffling on for far too long. Let me go through the drivers and the drivers and the constructors that is going to be participating in the 100% this season. Then, of course, it is realistic performance in the event league this year. With I think the fastest car is actually the McLaren team, isn't it? And then Red Bull is the second fastest. Percy did actually put up a lovely graphic which I've lost. So, but it is going to be realistic performance. But even so, Coop and Percy, who are the admins and the head stewards of 100 of the event league this year, showed that the gaps were so small anyway that I'm not even sure if the realistic performance is going to make a huge amount of difference. So it's going to be very exciting indeed. Then, but all ALR drivers are so close in terms of their performance and match in terms of their performance and pedigree. So it is very cool. So yeah, maybe I'm wrong about that, but I do feel that it's going to be a game of inches, which I certainly know a lot about, especially more millimeters than inches. Obviously, it's very not kindly putting in all the teams and stuff like that. I gotta say, this is a terrible start to the stream, isn't it? Goodness gracious me. To be fair, I'm full of excuses, so I'm gonna make another one right now. To be fair, the last 2 nights I've been working until like 8, 9 o'clock, so I am a little on the tired side as well. But anyway, yeah. So no one cares about that. So, but if I do waffle away, then that is the reason why. Right. So yeah, the performance levels are like this. That's the order. Sorry for the spam. Don't worry, I love spam. Also, spam spells backwards is maps as well. IQ is 69. Lol. Nice. McLaren are the fastest. Red Bull is second fastest. I don't believe that. Third is the Ferrari. The fourth is the Mercedes. Aston Martin fifth. Alpine sixth. Seventh is the Williams. Racing Babors is in eighth. Ninth is the Haas. And 10th is the Kick. With the updates to this game, though, I do believe that some drivers may swap teams. Coop and Percy were already in and on about swapping teams. So anyway, I'm standing on the ceremony, Mr. Wayne. Let's go. Let's take a look at the drivers, shall we? And let's go for them then. Of course, in the top left, we're going to start off with the Red Bull Racing Bull team, which will feature a certain Ginger Rage, who has got one Driver of the Day award in the event league. So that's my claim to fame. But I've only ever scored 17 points, which I think is not right. Talking of always excuses, Ginger. Talking of excuses, let's go with serious pressure. Making his 60th Grand Prix. Oh no! Making his 60th. I've just dropped something really bad. I've dropped my bottle of Coke. Coke? Am I allowed to say that? I don't think I am. Serious Mushroom 60th Grand Prix start tonight in 100%. This is just 100% stats, by the way. I love a stat. So happy 60th to Serious Mushroom. Almost as close to his real age. He's had one podium, 3 fastest laps, 10 driver of the day. So basically, Serious Mushroom has a driver of the day, 1 in every 10 races in 100%. Goodness gracious me. And only 2 DNFs there for Serious Mushroom, compared to 3 DNFs for his ginger teammate. Then along is the Ferrari team, and in the Ferrari team we have Justify, who best result of 8th position, of 11th position. And if he gets that result, then here this season, of course, the points are stretched down to 15, which will score points. But so far, Justify has not scored a point in his career. Marsky making his 3rd Grand Prix start. Best result is 7th position there for Marsky. But Marsky has finished every single race that he has participated in. Great stuff indeed. Goodness me, we're going to be going in a minute. I'm still talking about the drivers. Shocking. Mercedes are next then, and hang on, let me zoom in, and in the Mercedes we have got Reflections, and we have got Brooksy. Brooksy making his 12th Grand Prix start then. Sadly for Brooksy, I don't want to name and shame, but Brooksy has only finished one race in his 100% in his event career so far. Reflections, only 3 DNFs in his 48 Grand Prix starts. Fantastic stuff for Reflections, with his best result of 4th position there. Having said that, Brooksy has had 1 pole position in his career, so good stuff indeed there. Then we go to the McLaren Mercedes duo, and that is Vintage and also Hungry Styles then. So Vintage then, ever present, isn't he? He is, and he will start. He'll make his 47th Grand Prix start tonight, and Hungry Styles will make his 38th Grand Prix start as well. Vintage has only failed to finish 1 race. That is incredible stuff indeed. Then Kick Sauer's up next. Lucas Percy and Alexander. I wasn't even sure if this stat is right, but Alexander, or Knowlesy, I like to call him Alexander, has made 1 start. Is that right? He has finished that 1 start, but only 1 start. I couldn't believe that. And Percy, of course, with the most successful driver in the event league in terms of 4 drivers this season. 8 Grand Prix wins in 31 Grand Prix starts. 8 pole positions in 31 Grand Prix, 31 qualified sessions. 14 pole positions. 1 faster than that. 3 driver days, but 11 DNFs there for Percy. Is he favourite for the championship? Potentially. On the pink side, it is the Alpine team, and in the Alpine team we have R2 Beat and Camaro Racer. Camaro Racer making his 32nd Grand Prix start, not tonight though. He's had a podium as well then. R2 Beat 7 Grand Prix wins in, of course, and it is 100% in his event career. I keep saying 100%. 14 podiums as well. R2 Beat then, of course, has had great history in the 100% before, and of course also a constructors champion as well. Fantastic stuff indeed then. The racing bulls are next with Markey and Coop as in soup. Markey making his 5th Grand Prix start tonight, and Coop making his 35th Grand Prix start tonight with 3 podiums as well. Haas is on the other side then. Apologies, I think I'm holding this up. Hasser on the other side, then we got Equals. Hang on. We got Equals and Legend. Equals, 5 Grand Prix wins for Equals then, and a world champion as well then. 18 podiums, and Equals ever consistent, and that's exactly what Haas would love to see. And then we got Legend then making his 12th Grand Prix start tonight. Grand Prix winner as well, Legend is. So very impressive stuff indeed. Then down the bottom, we got Aston Martin with Ginner and Vessi. Ginner then has got a Grand Prix win in 40 Grand Prix starts and 6 pole positions then. The 3rd highest in terms of this grid then. Fantastic stuff. And Vessier, happy 50th Grand Prix to Vessier with a Grand Prix win and 2 pole positions as well for Vessier. Great stuff indeed then. And then we have the Williams team then of Jay Hings and Kiki. Jay Hings, 7th Grand Prix start here tonight for Jay Hings, and Kiki making his 47th Grand Prix start tonight. 4 wins, 9 pole positions, the most out of anyone then, but are you surprised? I certainly am not, because Kiki is an absolute machine when it comes to 1 lap pace then. Fantastic stuff indeed. Then we're just getting into qualifying, but before we do get into qualifying, let's take a quick gander, shall we, at the, oh gosh, I've broken me stream. Let's take a quick gander at the calendar then whilst we're loaded, and of course 18 Grand Prix then on the calendar. Fantastic stuff. And of course it is mixed in with a lot of variables then, and tonight's variable, it is going to be wet, dry to wet. That is the Grand Prix ahead of us. Qualifying, who knows? But it's going to be a wet, dry to wet race. China is round 2. Japan is round 3. Where Japan you have to use. Is it just the the hard tires are banned then for Japan. Round 4, it's a double header. Lovely stuff, by the way, as Mad Max has retired from the session and left the session, making their debut tonight. That's a shame. It's a double. It's a double in Saudi Arabia and Azerbaijan for round 4. Looking forward to that. That's fantastic. Bahrain is round 5. And, of course, Bahrain is preset setups only, so default setups. That's fantastic. I love this. Spain round 6. Great Britain, but it's reversed. So the first time ALR is going to have a reverse Grand Prix. I love that. Emilia-Romagna is round 8 then. Of course, and it's also going to be a double header of 50% races then. Of course, when the double headers, they are 50% races, so not 200%. So that'd be brutal, wouldn't it? But I think, why not? not. And that is Emilia-Romagna and Italy. Then we got Belgium then, which will also be preset setups again for round 9. Round 10 is Hungary, and of course Hungary will be a mandatory free pit stop. Fantastic. The Dutch Grand Prix will be round 11. Singapore is around 12 then for Singapore, and that'll be two 50% races, reverse grid though. I love that. And then we got USA in, whoops, who's that coming up? Marsky, how dare you? Then we got USA around 13, Mexico around 14, Austria reversed round 15, Brazil round 16, and Brazil I think is going to be a full wet race, and that's going to be interesting. Las Vegas said will be around 17, and then of course Yas Marina will be around 18, and so looking forward to that, and double points as well for the final race. Then goodness me, we're going back to 2014, are we? Fantastic. Right, anyway, enough about that. That is the schedule for this season, and for 100%. Great to have it back. Not 100%, I should say. I'm not. Basically, I got like almost how many laps around here? 58 laps, or I'm going to be saying 100% a lot of the time. Which there we go. Come on, Justify, says Declan. Then of course Justify driving the Ferrari tonight. Mushy for the win. Then no chance of Serious Motion. Not when of course let's be honest about it. Serious Motion without me, I think he's going to be lost, isn't he? Out of the final turn then, coming out to the line, and to start his time run is Jinner. Well, I saw about Key potentially being a lot of pole position then, but what about Jinner then? To be honest, if I'm a better man, I would be a better man, but everything I try and bet on, usually the opposite happens. So I'm not going to say who I think is going to be on pole position. Well, I am. I think it'll be between Key and Jinner, to be honest with you, but I have been wrong before. I could be wrong again then. So as we're just watching the Aston Martin, and as mentioned before then, of course, this is these cars are representing the 2025 performance cars of Formula 1 2025. And Mad Max is back in the session. That is fantastic stuff indeed then. Who for points in silver and bronze then, says Real Ashton. To be honest, I reckon all the silver and bronze drivers that represent tonight will be in the points as well. Sorry, I mean Real Ashton in terms of his performances on Monday and Tuesday. Absolutely fantastic for Real Ashton then. Of course, Real Ashton waited a long time to get his first points. Now all of a sudden, in the last couple of races, he's got a lot of points, hasn't he? And really on form is Real Ashton then. Good stuff in silver, and an absolutely quality drive last night in bronze as well, in very challenging conditions in the Japanese Grand Prix. Jinner across the line, and Jinner is pole position on the 17 flat then. Mad Max might be a bit mad about that as he has left the session. Lewis Riley taking his first out pole position, I think, in silver on Monday night. Fantastic stuff for Riley. I got to say, Riley has started off his season fantastic in terms of qualifying. Not too well in the races so far. Brooks Hughes not in any championship, but he's in the event league, which is great to see, and I absolutely love to see that. Marsky is going across the line. Marsky goes third fastest in the Scuderia Ferrari. Marsky is involved in some interesting Grand Prix racing on last night. Of course, I think the balance was causing all kinds of mischief, wasn't it, with that very long stint on the intermediate tyres, which I absolutely loved. I thought it was very interesting, to be honest. I love a curveball. Man Max back in the session, whilst Brooksy goes up into third fastest at the moment. Hopefully Mad Max can get that connection sorted out, because that is not bolting too well. I'm bolting. That's not bolting too well then for Mad Max then, as Equals goes third fastest, 0.3 of a second away from Jinner at the moment with 13 minutes to go in his qualifying session. Short qualifying as per usual for all the championships, which is good stuff indeed. As fantastic, of course. We also had was it the second ever, the man who won the Kobo Championship from Season 2, the Hammer time back in reserve, and potentially in a couple of weeks. And great to see Hammer time back in. Sadly, the man that he was supporting in terms of Hugh Madbro, the first ever Kobo champion, which I think the subtitle, which really gets forgotten by me, which is shameful, is that we've got yellow flags out there. Do not worry about yellow flags in qualifying, I would very cautiously say, because of course drivers are just getting out of the way. But yes, you man didn't have a very good race, sadly, last night today. Mushy is Max tonight. He will win. Talking of Max, not Mad Max, I mean Max Verstappen, there's a lot of rumours going around about potentially going to Mercedes. If not next year, then 2027. There's a lot of rumours going around all of a sudden in real F1, which is really, I must admit, I didn't expect silly season, to be honest. I thought that silly season was kind of done and dusted from last year. But very interesting stuff leaders. Here comes Justify. Declan there be happy to see Justify on circuit. However, Justify did not stay within the bounds there and is invalidated their lap. Then of course that is the rules then for and that's also invalidated of Vessier as well. Then so turn 9 and 10 seems to be a bit of an issue for the Mad Max left the session again, and hopefully they can sort that issue out there. Vessier has also come a cropper as well. Same place there as we got the two kick Saubers then, towing each other along then as Alexander, almost getting in the way of Percy there. I don't think Percy was too keen on that as he give a glance in, a bit of a glance there to his left hand side to his teammate. Knowlesy, who makes his second ever appearance tonight in 100%, which I'm quite surprised by. Of course, Knowlesy, a big fan of 100%, and of course, I think got the original 100% going in ALR, didn't he? Now Percy and Coop, as in Soup, who of course floated the idea around when ALR had to drop it. Well, didn't have to. They dropped it, didn't they? After the end of the 12th season, I think it was, or the 11th season of ALR, but they've brought it back this season, so hats off to Coop and Percy there for getting this format going. And of course, as Percy goes full fastest, and of course as well, they've as a vintage with the beautiful helmet then. I wonder if that's, do you reckon that's a tribute to me? Lol. Jay King's out of the final turn. But hats off to Coop and Percy then for getting this all up and running, and for some of the novel ideas as well. Jay Hings goes fifth fast in the Williams Mercedes, as Jay Hings going over the Louis Vuitton sponsorship, which has kind of taken over F1, hasn't it, this season? Goodness gracious me, wherever you look, there's a Louis Vuitton. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right. Louis Vuitton sponsorship. Is that to do with deodorant and stuff? I probably should know that, shouldn't I? Especially as I probably need a lot of deodorant as well. As I smell probably like a athlete's foot at the moment, but that's probably because I am sweating profusely because it is well, it's not warm outside, is it? But I just get excited about seeing F1 cars and ALR drivers on the grid. Then Vintage goes 11 fastest in that McLaren Mercedes so far. Vintage will probably try and find more time, I feel. Knowlesy goes 7 fastest in that kick Sauber. Not too shabby there from Alexander. Good stuff indeed then. Here comes Sirius Mushroom in the Red Bull, flicking past me as well then. So Sirius Mushroom, whether we argue or not if the Red Bull is actually second fast or not, it is in terms of this game, but of course in real life I genuinely think that Red Bull is not, I don't think it's even the fourth fastest car, to be honest, in real life. Tsunoda is not a bad driver, let's be honest about it. He has shown flashes of brilliance in that Toro, was he in Toro Rosso, or was it just AlphaTauri when he first joined? AlphaTauri, RB, and now Racing Bulls. And he has shown flashes of brilliance. Tsunoda has a roots button go to Cadillac as well, which would be pretty cool, which is fantastic to see. Hopefully, we'll have another new team soon, but maybe I'm pushing the envelope out a bit there. So Smasher goes at 13th fastest, 4/10 of a second slower in the than Vintage there. Maybe Sir Smasher's going to have the same issue that Tsunoda, Liam Lawson, Pierre Gasly, the list goes on. Perez, who else has been in that seat? Alex Albon, goodness gracious me. Who's who of Grand Prix racers who have sadly not been able to tame that second Red Bull seat since Daniel Ricciardo left in 2018. I think so. I wonder if Sirius Merchant might have the same issue as well. Sadly, we haven't got Ginger Rage in there tonight to hoist them at the grid. Oh dear, I'm allergic to lies. My nose is growing bigger than... Whoa! Justify! Wow, I thought he was going to do a Timo Glock there and go into the barrier, but my goodness me. Wow, how, sir. I love that. It is a great stuff indeed. Fair play to Justify. I thought he was going to have a humongous crash. I'm not sure if anyone remembers the Australian Grand Prix in 2008. Makes me very sad, to be honest, because that's well over 10 years ago now. And it only feels like yesterday when I watched that Grand Prix. just by going full fast there. Look at that, both Ferraris are really maxing out the performance of that machine, aren't they? Look at that then, 100th of a second separates the two cars. Great stuff indeed then, as Vestier flies up into P5, and well done indeed there for Vestier in the Aston Martin. Good stuff indeed then, as Kiki coming across the line. So I was saying about Kiki's performance, goes third fastest there, 2/10 of a second away from Jitter, and as we predicted, yes, the cars have got realistic performance in this event league tonight, but it does. But the ALR drivers just doesn't seem to give a damn, do they? Because they're still close as ever, aren't they, on the grid, which is fantastic to see. That is not Hungry Stars. Hungry Stars, I think, is still in the garage at the moment. They're enjoying the sunshine, I think, now, whilst his teammate Vintage is getting wheeled back in. Here comes Brooksy in 14th position. Goes up to P4 in that Mercedes car. Fantastic indeed there for Brooksy. And I've got to say, I've just broke my nail, and that blooming hurts. Well, I didn't break it, I got caught on something. I think a bit of fabric in the old joggers. Coop, where's Coop then? So Coop, 9100 a second up in the Racing Bull. So much better name than the RB. I think the RB is probably one of the worst team names in history, isn't it? Personally, I haven't said that then. I must admit, I think that that's probably a close second to the Andrea Moda cars then, wasn't it? To be honest, because it wasn't named after the town of where the team was basing. So it was meant to be a Lamborghini Works team, wasn't it then? And then it was meant to be financed by a Mexican millionaire or billionaire. And it was going to be called Glass or something, wasn't it? But unfortunately, that didn't materialise. And then Lamborghini kind of took over the project, but didn't want to put their name on the car. So they probably foreseen that the car was not going to be very competitive. And sadly, it wasn't. It only had one season in Grand Prix racing in '91 before they were dropped out. Sadly. Oh, and Percy is in the gravel. Of course, a horrible turn 11 that is. And of course, it's very right angle-y, isn't it? I'm not even sure if that's a word. But as Marski's invalidated his time with 5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Here's the current pole sitter, Jitter. Flicks past me now. Coming up into the very fast, kinky part of the circuit of 9 and 10. I've got a tickle in my throat and I haven't got me... Whoa! Haven't got me squash either. And I've just kicked over me Coke, so that's not good either, is it? Get some decorum in this coach box. Come on, Sean. Gosh, happy hump day, everyone. By the way, I think it was, what was it the other day? I can't remember what it was. It was a national day of something today, which is pretty cool. And also, it was World Falafel Day as well, a few weeks ago as well. Don't know why I remember that one and not what the national day... Was it National Fruit Day? I can't remember. It just flashed up on my laptop earlier just before coming on stream. And 3100 second improvement. Lowering the bar, not by much, but every little helps. We're not sponsored by Tesco's. I wish we was, because maybe I can get me free chicken. But maybe that's just a pipe dream. We need to get Alex on the case there, of course. Who's usually our sales guy, isn't he? Here comes Riley, currently in 11th position at the moment. A little lower on the grid for Riley in what he's used to this season. He's been fantastic, hasn't he? Here's Jamie. What a performance last night for Jamie. Gotta say, he was in a league of his own, wasn't he, really? Jamie was fantastic. He just overtook Rocket Lee and then never looked back, did he? It's Jamie. Fantastic performance. He's now swapped the Papaya for the beautiful pink and blue Alpine. Of course, Alpine, after the CEO of Renault have kind of left, and Alpine is also up in the air as well. I wish they would go back to Renault, but potentially it might be even better just to sell the Alpine team personally. But maybe I'm being a bit harsh on the team. But yeah, it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere at the moment. They're last in the constructors as well. They got musical chairs going on in that second seat with Colapinto now under the cosh after Jack Doohan was very unceremoniously, in my opinion, booted out of the Alpine seat around mid-May, around the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, sadly, which ain't ideal. And of course, Bottas was also rumoured to be potentially going for that second seat in Alpine. As apparently Flavio Briatore, by the way, I'm getting all the information of the race, so whatever they say, I think is absolutely right then. I don't fact check. Fact chat? What? No, fact? Goodness me. I don't fact check any of these things. I just see stuff and I'm like, ooh, that's exciting, isn't it? Maybe I should protect you, but I have revealed my source, so then it's their fault now, isn't it? Not mine. But Bottas potentially going to Alpine, but Flavio Briatore apparently, as Mad Max is back in the session, hopefully he can stay in the session now because we've only got a couple of minutes to go before the start of the race, which will be wet, dry, wet. Ooh, love it. I do love a mixed race and fantastic. We've got one of the most incredible races you'll ever see in F1 history. Is always has mixed conditions. You can just reel them off. But before we do, yeah, Flavio Briatore as Jamie goes to 6 fast, and maybe they should put Jamie in that Alpine instead of Colapinto because he's certainly ragging that car very much to the edge of its performance limit, and that's what Briatore wants to see, doesn't he? But yeah, he's not sure if he's getting that at the moment with Pierre Gasly or with Colapinto or with Jack Doohan there. But yeah, we'll soon find out. Maybe I'm just too soft on the F1 drivers because I thought Liam Lawson probably deserved a couple more races, to be fair, to prove himself in the Red Bull. To be honest, I think that the admins, Percy and Coop, are probably going to regret putting me in the comms box tonight because all I'm going to be doing is talking about real life F1 because literally that's what I was watching just before coming on stream then. So it's all fresh in the old noggin. Out of the final turn there for Justified, currently 8th at the moment. Both Ferraris there doing very well, and that's pole position for Justify. He's found 2/10 of a second for the Ferrari, and that'll be his first pole position of his career in the event league. That is brilliant stuff indeed then, and that is really from the cat amongst the pigeons. Both Ferraris are looking strong at the moment. They're the third fastest car in terms of performance, but they are certainly the fastest on the track at the moment. Out of turn 14, up to the line as well for Marski. Marski's benchmark is a 16.8. Can he do it? No, it's only second fastest, but it's a Ferrari 1-2. We're back to the Schumacher-Barrichello era. Fantastic for Justify, fantastic for Marski, but Justify was certainly not on my betting slip for getting pole position tonight. But then again, no disrespect to Justify, I'm always wrong. So there's no disrespect at all in that statement there. But great time there for Justify, and of course that is the perfect place of where you want to start your race. Then checker flag has fallen. That's Red Bull coming in the pits. I think that was Cirrus Mushroom, the only Red Bull driver on circuit so far because Ginger Rage has gone MIA. Across the line for Equals. It stays full fastest for Equals. There's a McLaren in the background. Vintage stays 15th on the grid. Brooksy stays 6th on the grid as well. There's a Ferrari who's come a cropper. I think it's Justified who's going for a second time run. Unfortunately, it's not transpired too well. I'm looking for a Williams. Jay Hinks has unfortunately invalidated his time. Here comes Percy, goes full fastest. Fast up into fourth now then is displaced Percy. It's an Aston Martin row 2. R2B is now gone into fourth position there on the second row of the grid for the Alpine machine. Fantastic. We got Kiki cut across the line. That's second fastest. It's not enough to dislodge our poles here to Justify. They're all falling by the wayside, and it's Justify on pole position for the Australian Grand Prix. Fantastic stuff indeed, and Justify has really justified his switch to the Ferrari team and being picked for the Scuderia, and it's a Ferrari 1-3 in this qualifying session here tonight. What a start for Justify, and mega stuff indeed. Justify has never scored a point in the event league so far in his career, and it's now got a pole position. Fantastic there for Justify. But that's really good. Oh gosh, I've got a sore throat coming. I've got to calm down a bit, haven't I? Oh my goodness. Justify pole position, number 1 of his career. And that is a fantastic, by 6 thousandths of a second. You can barely get it any closer than that. Kiki wanted to add to his pole position tally, but Justify has stolen the march with Marski in third. Generate fourth position. Fifth is R2 with Vessier, Percy, 6th and 7th. Equals, Jamie, and Brooksy completes the top 10. Coop, Riley, Hings, Knowlesy, Vintage, Mushroom, Reflections, Stars, and Mad Max all completes the running order for the Australian Grand Prix. Fantastic. Right, let me update my spreadsheet then because I'll probably forget tomorrow. So let me get all that. Oh, it's raining. We knew it was raining, didn't we? Calm yourself, Sean. Goodness me. You gotta get some professional commentators, Alex. This is shocking. Right, anyway, let's get on with it, shall we? So we know what the weather situation is going to be. So it's going to be wet to begin with, and it's going to go dry. And as we was mentioning in qualifying, that we've had so many great races in the wet, haven't we? Of course, ALR Gold and Silver put on a clinic in wet racing over the last couple of days out in Japan, but we are in Australia this time around. But also as well, the European Grand Prix in 2000 was an absolute doozy. What about the 99 European Grand Prix won by Johnny Herbert? Fantastic. Barrichello won his first ever Grand Prix in Germany in 2000. Of course, the second to last race on the old Hockenheim ring, of course, where Barrichello stayed on the slick tyres, whilst the McLarens both went on the intermediate compound tyres, and it didn't go well for him at all, did it? As the stadium was completely saturated. But Barrichello, but of course, through the trees, the track was almost bone dry. Of course, Spa, how can we forget Spa then, with so many wet races over the years? That, of course, 97, absolute deluge, wasn't it, in 97 there? And Schumacher pulled out such a big margin now, just showed that he was the Rainmaster. It's the car, Ginge. I believe that. I absolutely believe it. And of course, as we said, Serious Motion just underlined that Red Bull is a bit of a monster to drive. What a season opening qualifying. Absolutely. Evening all. Hello to you, Pot Stuff. And of course, close qualifying. Absolutely. And remember, this is realistic performance as well. R2B, good luck all. Of course, R2B, one of the most successful drivers in the Event League history. Who is the most successful driver? And technically, I suppose it is. It is Percy. With 8 Grand Prix wins. Having said that, then of course we also have R2B with Equals with 18 podiums, 5 wins, but he has been a world champion, of course, hasn't he? So make of that what you will then. I think in terms of stats, you have to go with championships, don't you, really? But I'm going to be very interested indeed. Finding there's a space I would have raced, says Farf. Farf loves the Oda 100%, doesn't he? Goodness me. To be honest, I must say, Farf definitely had his work cut out on Tuesday, didn't he? And Farf has not started off the season too well. I do feel that Farf has lost a step at his old age, hasn't he, in a Grand Prix race? Remember, he was a 3-time Grand Prix winner and leading the Gold Championship back in the season 2. I jest, Farf. At least you're still racing it like some ginger fool, because he's not racing tonight, and of course he's backed out of bronze as well. Shameful behaviour in 2. F2 all day. Yeah, to be honest, I was alright in F2. I think that mainly because I probably had full traction control on. Right, as we come through the final couple of corners there, Mad Max is in the car. Great stuff indeed there. So hopefully we'll see Mad Max making his debut tonight in ALR Grand Prix Racing. So really good stuff indeed there for Mad Max. As we all line up on the grid now, preparing ourselves for the start of the Event League. A welcome return from the Event League. Hats off to Coop, as in Soup, and Percy for getting the Event League back on. That is really good stuff indeed then. All intermediate tyres then, of course, as we knew it was going to be a wet race, but then after that it's a curveball. Then we'll see how this one transpires. And on board with the first for Justify's first ever pole position in the Event League history. He has missed his grid box then, so he's a couple of inches away from where he likes to be there. Lights are coming on now. 5 lights are on, and the Event League is go down under. They're all going to have to get away very gingerly. God, control the wheel spin going down to turn 1, and Kiki's already taken the lead into turn 1, and he has done indeed. And there's debris, there's cars, there's someone who's absolutely lost the end plate there, and that's not ideal. And Wallet has goodness me, and they're all going away very gingerly. There's more debris, and there's flicking off at the side there, and there's yellow flags then, and Jamie's dropping down the order as well, and the Aston Martin has gone wide off the circuit. There's Vessier, I think, having issues then, and it's not Far's fault this time. Vessier's got damage to the Aston Martin car, unfortunately. And they're all trying to get through then. Jamie in a 9th position now. I think that Jamie's lost an end plate as well in the Alpine car. Not ideal at all then. Of course, there is 58 laps around here. Then you cannot win it in the first corner, but you can certainly lose it. And unfortunately, therefore, Vessier and Jamie, they're going to be feeling that at the moment. Mad Max and just lagging all over the show there. That's not ideal for Mad Max. Hopefully, he can get that sorted. But Kiki has absolutely flown away. Conti contact between Justify and Jinner. Then Jinner's up into P2. Justify dropping down to P3. Serious Mushroom then, who's having issues with the Red Bull. Vintage there, almost into the side of the Red Bull then. And now we got more overtaken. That is Jamie and Knowles here swap position as Percy has damaged the car as well. So Lucas Percy's also got damage in that kick salver. It is going to be painful, especially in these conditions then. But look at Kiki, he is blown off the grid then. He is leading by 2 seconds at the end of the first lap. Wow, that's an incredible start there for Kiki. Jinner in second position, Jinner in second position, and after that it's all anarchy. Pit stops is Brooksy in, Jamie's in the pits as well, as is Jay Hings there. Not ideal at all, unfortunately. We've got 5 drivers in the pits there. I was expecting a more calmer start to this Grand Prix. 58 laps, and of course is double the race distance of normal championship racing. It has happened in gold, silver and bronze. And there's that damage to the Haas car as well. There are so many end plates flicking off. Yes, there's more damage on the grid then. That is not ideal at all, is it? So this has been a difficult start then. So 5 drivers in the pits then to start us off. Hungry Souls at 6th position is fantastic. Everyone has stayed on the intermediate tyre so far, of course. Is this light rain is going to continue for the foreseeable future. We are expecting it to go to dry. Then we may have a bit more rain later on. Then no DRS then. So it's going to be, you're going to have to force your way through. And here comes Equals and floating past Justify and up into 3rd position now. Marsky dropping down, Marsky in 5th position. Justify his teammates just in front of him. Are we going to see a bit more team orders then? I think we're going to see more team orders in this event league than we see across all the other championships, in my humble opinion. Why do I say that? I have no idea. Lucas Percy is now in 9th position then, as we have got one of the Haas is going very deep into turn 11. Turn 11, a horrible corner, probably the worst corner on the circuit. I think that. So, yes, the gaps are close then, but of course there's no DRS. DRS is available when you're in 1 second of the car in front. However, when it's the track is deemed wet or unsafe or yellow flags or whatever not, then of course the DRS will not be enabled then. And at the moment the track is deemed slippery and wet then, or as Bon Jovi used to say, slippery wet. That is, Percy's dropped down to 10th position now, so Percy's got an uphill struggle at the opening stint, and when are the intermediate tyres going to fall off? Are we going to be able to get to a dry part of the circuit, as Brooksy's back in the pits again then? So Brooksy's had 2 laps in the event league and sadly 2 pit stops already, so not ideal there for Percy then. So sorry, not for Percy, for Brooksy. Is Brooksy having to make another wing change? Yes. I don't think that they changed the front nose cone on the Mercedes cars, you know. With both Mercedes pitted on the opening lap, I feel that they brought in the I think the Mercedes got caught up there and realised that it was actually reflections in and not Brooksy first, or Brooksy in first, not reflections, and they didn't change his front wing. They got confused there. We have seen that before, haven't we? Where the cars have been the wrong way around and the mechanics have got confused then. Of course, there's been a lot of history over the years of bad pit stops. Ferrari are one of them as well. Of course, we all know about Ferrari's dodgy strategy calls over the years. I mentioned the 1999 European Grand Prix, of course, where but of course in one that race, quite infamous, said as Ferrari had 3 wheels on their wagon, and they were, as Martin Brundle was saying, they was having a committee meeting now instead of putting on that right tyre, weren't they? And potentially that cost Eddie Irvine the championship in 99. Who knows? I must say that both for Irvine and Hackler didn't feel like they wanted to win that championship, as Jinner is now closed right up to Kiki whilst I've been waffling away. Look at that, fast enough for the Grand Prix, of course, on this very tricky part of the circuit. And the Haas of Equals, even with damage, is pulling away from the 2 Ferrari cars. I wonder if Ferrari may switch and Justify our poles into the first ever pole position of Justify's career. But down in 4th position at the moment, but I think that Justify may struggle in these wet conditions. They will dry up though, and we'll go to a dry track in the, not sure when, but fairly soon. Jamie down in 15th position, and there's a 16-second deficit between himself and Vintage, which means then that he's got a clear bit of track. He can put his toe down and really go for it then. Back on board with Marsky then, and Marsky is really pushing on. That rain is very light now, isn't it? And of course rain needs to be a bit heavier than that then, so the Formula 1 cars are absolutely cracking for drying up tracks, and of course they're really good for hoovering up the water and flinging it back into the sky. So that is, of course, so the rain probably needs to get heavier, otherwise these intermediate tyres are going to be crying in pain, I feel, in the next few laps or so. And of course it is far too greasy to go on to the slick tyres just yet then. Of course, when it's deemed a wet race, which it is at the moment, the rain has stopped actually, so now we're going to get very interested and determine on who is going to switch onto what tyres and when. Mad Max then having issues at the back of the field, then he is slowed almost to a halt there out of turn 6, I believe that is, and it is usually quite a high gear. I think it's about 6 gear, that right-hander, isn't it there? So Mad Max then having a bit of a baptism of fire here in Australia. Gap in the front is now 4/10 of a second. We're also taking a look at the battling Ferraris, but because the Ferraris are battling here, then Equals is not dropping Justify at the moment, is it? So it's not mission critical just yet. Jamie's setting another fastest up of the race then. Of course, Jamie then on his back foot at the moment there, as we're watching Jinner, who is now starting to put pressure on Kiki, who absolutely flew away then. Of course, both two drivers are now in silver then. Of course, Jinner, who got promoted to silver last season then, bronze up into silver last season then, and into the pits comes Mad Max then, after order of Mad Max might be thinking about going on to the dry compound tyres. He is indeed. It's going on to the medium tyres then. Of course, because it's a wet race, or you start on the wet tyres or the intermediate tyres, you don't have to use 2 types of tyre then. So you can go medium, medium, medium if you want, or you can go soft, 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 but I don't know why you would do that. Or you can go hard tyres potentially then. Of course, the hard tyres are the most durable tyre, but of course they will take a while to, they will not be as quick as the soft tyres. Medium tyre is smack bang in the middle of the compound tyres, and of course the soft tyres are very quick, but they'll fall away very quickly. Into the pits comes Jinner. So Jinner then is, I think he's rolling the dice because it still looks very greasy out there. Kiki has set the fast on the race, the Ferrari justifies in the pits, and Jinner then stopping on his marks, and medium tyres is going on for the Aston Martin driver. Look at that, it's not only quick on circuit, it's also quick in the pit lane as well. Justify out on circuit, hard tyres for Justify. R2 Beat is into the pits on the medium tyres. Vestier is also on the mid. Oh, what's happened? What's happened then? There's something that's gone awry into Sector 1. I'm not sure. DRS has been enabled then. R2 Beat. Oh, almost getting a squirrel on coming out of the pits there. As Jay Hings has stayed out then. And he is going to be right behind Mushroom. Gets contact between the two cars, and Justify has damaged the car. And that's a light touch there. And goodness me, then a very light touch, but it's just the velocity of these cars and so much energy. Even a light brush with the car will damage that nose cone, and unfortunately for Jay Hings, he's going to have another trip to the pits. He was going to have a trip to the pits anyway, but to go on to the slick tyres. Both Mercedes stacking again by the looks. Percy has now got past Knowlesy, and Percy, I'm wondering if that is DRS or is that Percy starting to get with it. More yellow flags then. I think it's Mad Max's car somewhere. No, Mad Max is there, so I don't know why there's a yellow flag there, but Mad Max has left the session. Into the pit comes Kiki. So Kiki into the pit, and here's the race leader then. So we're going to have a lot of action now. Is this the right time? There's me saying, oh, it's probably the wrong time, but I absolutely have no earthly idea what's going on. Knowlesy has stayed out then, but Knowlesy has had to stay out because his hand has had to be played. Our first 3-second penalty of the event and of the season goes to Jamie. Commiserations out to Jamie. But Kiki in the pits now. And I think that Jinner's going to take the lead, you know. There's a wing change as well. No, Kiki is just in front, but Jinner then up the inside takes the lead then. And that lap earlier is critical for the Grand Prix. And now Jinner takes the lead and gets ahead of Kiki. Now, these two drivers are going to be very close together then. They're both, and Kiki is now in DRS range of the Aston Martin driver. So, now this is going to get very interesting indeed then, of course, with 100% as well. Then rolling on lap 7, we got 58 more laps to go around here. Styles on the hard tyres. There's so many different tyre compounds. I don't know what's medium and soft, but variation of strategy here. On board with Styles, who is 4/10 of a second away, and be starting to think about that DRS, and DRS is enabled last lap. Here comes Kiki. He's having a look into turn 9 and 10, but Jinner slams the door shut on his rival. Another dose of DRS and going up into turn number 11, but again the door has been slammed firmly firmly shut. It has indeed. Back to this battle here then. Stars was close, but no cigar on the battle to himself and Equals. We've seen a wing change, but was it for Equals? It was for the Haas driver. Now got two end plates there, which is better than one end plate. We've got a lovely bit of sunshine here in Albert Park, which is what we normally expect here in Australia. I wonder if some drivers are quite surprised of how early it is that we switched from the inters to the slick tyres. And of course, weather could be around then. The weather could come back there. Justify is the fastest driver. Interestingly, on the hard tyres. Now, that is interesting. Normally, you would think the medium tyres. It's the softer tyre out of the hard and the medium tyres. But at the moment, then, Justify is the fastest. Vintage has now gone faster, but he is on the medium tyres then. So, that's interesting pace there from Justify. Justify's already shown now in qualifying he is quick, isn't he, in this Grand Prix here tonight then. Fantastic 17 there. As Knowles, he's got out in front of his teammate there. And I thought that extra lap would have been costly, but I think that Percy's had to change the nose cone. He has changed the nose cone. Vessier is through. Percy's gone on hard tyres. Knowles is on medium tyres. And so the two kick Saubers have swapped position. What have they done? I don't know. They've split the strategy. That's what I'm trying to say. 50 laps to go in this Australian Grand Prix. Jenner defending nicely then. Of course, there's a long way to go in this race, isn't it? We've got Equals then, who's got a little bit of straight line speed there, isn't he? Starts this made his way up to 7th position, and then here comes his gaggle of cars. Serious Mushroom then is not happy with the Red Bull, but at the moment into 8th position is Serious Mushroom doing maximum staffing things on the Red Bull. Good stuff. On board with, but having said that, then they are gaining. We got a change for the lead then, and Kiki is through, passes Ginner, but Ginner's not going to have any. It's not going to lay down and accept it. He's all over the back of the Williams. He's not a lot of difference, and he fights. No, he doesn't. He stays in third position into the Brundle turn. Oh, my goodness me. You had one job, Mr. Director, and I missed it. Oh, dear. Starters don't mean to go on. Jamie set another fast on race, and Jamie is absolutely flying out there at the moment. Knowlesy, I would say that Knowlesy is the cork in the bottle, but Serious Mushroom has been caught up by this gaggler car. Serious Mushroom has done 2 laps extra on the medium tyres, which I don't think's an awful lot of difference in on a race like Australia. But you can never discount out tyres, because these Pirelli tyres, ever since returning to F1 back in the 2011 season, these Pirelli tyres have been very interesting, very difficult to understand. Vessier is understanding the rubber fantastically well, and now up into 9th position. Next target, though, is that Serious Mushroom in 8th position in the Red Bull. It's Ginner then, who is still behind Kiki at the moment. And of course the overtake happened last up, and here comes Ginner. Ginner normally, more often than not, is very quick in a straight line. He gains up to the back of Kiki into turn 1 and 2. Look how quick they change the chicane. That's fantastic, isn't it? But no dice at the moment. Here comes Styles. Styles is very close to the back of Equals. He's got DRS. He's got the slipstream. He's got the position up into 6 now. Goes Styles. Percy and Knowlesy have swapped positions in the kick Sauber, and now Percy is back into 10th position there. We're keeping on the tyres at the moment then, as now we've got Vessier, who's in the middle of the circuit, but Percy's haven't got none of that up the inside. But Vessier gives him just about a car's width there, so Percy's going to go on the outside, but Vessier is having nothing of that then, and forces Percy out wide and keeps the position just about that. I think that, of course, ever since changes made to this Australian circuit back in 2022-ish, the overtaking into 9 and 10 is probably one of the more easier overtakes, I would say, then, as long as the car gives you room there. Percy on the back foot then on the hard tyres as Vessier is through. Vessier up the inside, passes Mushroom, and of course, thank you very much, Vessier, underlines my statement there, so I feel very happy about myself. Percy up into 9th position, passes Serious Mushroom. Love the helmet, by the way, from Serious Mushroom. Percy up into 9th position now on the hard tyres. So he is the 4th in line of drivers on hard tyres at the moment. Serious Mushroom might start to fall backwards now. Then he did struggle with pace in qualifying, didn't he? Did Serious Mushroom, but of course race true is completely different. But at the moment, no, Serious Mushroom struggling with pace out there by the looks of things. I've got a really itchy nose. on board with Equaz, unable to retake Styles down into turn 1. May have a chance down into turn 2. No, down to turn 3, I should say. Not quite there for Equaz, but he's just going to mirror. That's a Red Bull there. He's not in the race. Mad Max out of his debut race here in ALR, unfortunately. But I don't think he really got going, to be honest, for Mad Max as had connection issues. So 18 cars out of the 19 that started on the outside. Contact then ricocheting with the wall on the outside. Jinner takes the lead, and my word, there, and it's getting a bit robust there between the two rivals. My goodness gracious me, Equaz was free repasses Hungry Styles there. Did Jinner get damaged there? I'm surprised he didn't get damage, to be honest, because that was quite a clunk with the Armco barrier. I thought that the end plate would at least be missed on the Aston Martin, but fair play for Jinner for keeping it going, and for Kiki, because I thought that there was going to be a humongous incident. Coop as in Superman 211 position in the racing ball. Here comes Kiki. He's going to have a sniffer. I thought he's going to jink to the left and then to the right there. I thought he was going to sell the dummy. Not at this instant though, and Jinner keeps the position there. Back down into the Brundle turn then. Justify and Ferrari, they're doing a great job in third and fourth position. That's great to see that. And of course in the very early stage, so Ferrari will be over the moon with how this race has gone then, and there's a ghostly Red Bull there. As Percy now trying to get past Vessier then. Vessier harvesting down into turn 3 then. So of course turn 3 is a very difficult overtaking braking opportunity. I would say that it's probably into turn 9 and also into turn 1 is probably the easiest place. I then would say probably about turn 11. But what do I know? I struggled to overtake, and we got more. Goodness me! Oh, what's happened? And we seen contact in 9 and 10 at last lap, and then a Jinner there jinking, and I'm wondering if there's a bit of frustration there for the Aston Martin. We didn't really catch what happened there, but I'm not sure if there's a car issue or if there was just a bit of frustration there for Jinner. But whatever the case, they've lost a second and a bit, almost 2 seconds actually, to the Ferrari or Justify. I wonder if the two drivers have come together. Percy is through, passes the Aston Martin and Vessier, and up into 8th position now goes Vessier. Mr. Director should have caught that, shouldn't he? Shocking stuff indeed then. Jinner then, who might be a bit frustrated by this, and there's a long way to go though. So of course, this is all about keeping your cool, because I would say that this one is certainly going to be, there's still action all the way up and down the field. Vessier then keeping up with the DRS, and Sirius Musho has stopped the rot. He is now in 10th position. Then Sirius Musho, he was sinking quicker than what I sink when I'm in the water in the swimming pool. But now Coop though has got Sirius Mushroom in his sights then in the battle for 10th position now. Of course, I haven't said anything about the points yet, have I? Of course, the points are down to 15, and of course the winner gets 30 points then. And of course, then second position gets 22, and then third gets 19. It's exactly the same as bronze there, of course, and it encourages people to get going there. So as it stands then, only 3 drivers are not scoring. You do not want to be any of those 3 drivers not to score. So of course, it keeps drivers very much interested and invested as well. Of course, you also get a point for fastest lap, which we didn't drop. The real F1 did, didn't they? And I think that I'm sure that it was a drop because of Daniel Ricciardo stealing that point of Lando Norris in the Singapore Grand Prix. Potentially, I'm just being very I'm just being very anti-Red Bull there, aren't I? Vessier picks up a 3-second penalty on lap 14. We, well, not even a quarter of the way through this race yet. So Vessier is going to have to really toe the line now. As here comes Styles, who's putting his toe down to the floor and up into 6th position now for the Mercedes. I got the engine right, but not the team. McLaren Mercedes, I should say. Equals then, of course, got a rich history in this format of Grand Prix racing. Equals has, and he's currently in 7th position in the Haas car. Of course, and Equaz will be hoping to become the first ever Event League 2-time world champion. As we've got White Shadow, let's go Justify. Absolutely then, of course. And I like to keep the fans happy. We're on board with the pole sitter Justify. Brilliant qualifying lap. Justify has never scored a point in this format before in his career, but goodness gracious me, the Ferrari driver is looking at one with the Ferrari car, and of course I would say that he's kind of in no man's at the moment. So Gavin Marsky, a former runner-up in bronze, but trying to keep up with Jinner and Kiki. But both Jinner and Kiki are on the medium tyres then, of course. As Soup and Serious Mushroom now going side by side into 11, but Coop has got the position and passes Serious Mushroom. Oof. Vesser's just about hanging on, but Jinner has got some race pace in this Aston Martin. They came to blows. They came to blows a few laps ago. I assume that they also came to blows a lap after, but I was too busy waffling on about all kinds of nonsense. But I'm going to keep an eye on these two drivers then, because both drivers then look a bit fiery out there at the moment. Jinner then almost losing it, of course, almost doing a Nakajima back in 2008 or 2009, I think it was. First time for everything, and Justify certainly has the pace and consistency. He certainly does at the moment, does the Justifiers, and that is exactly what you need in these very long races. Of course, it is a 58-lap race like a standard Grand Prix. So Justify is going to be very happy in third position at the moment now, and I would say as Equal's through and into sixth position, and now Knowlesy is through, passes, and Serious Mushroom up into 11th position. And I would actually, whilst I was waffling on, Vesher has got past Percy. Percy without DRS then is still looking quite menacing there, but I think the Aston Martin has the as that 8th position not locked down, but certainly has the Kick Sauber arm's length of himself at the moment. Jinnan once again catching up to the back of Kiki. Justify just needs to keep himself out of trouble, because I feel that there's going to be some fireworks in the battle for the Grand Prix lead then, of course. Who doesn't love a bit of fireworks, even if it is the it's the 4th of July on Friday, isn't there? So maybe some early fireworks to to celebrate the 4th of July, potentially. Styles, who in that McLaren is in 7th position at the moment, and just Equals at the moment is in 6th position. And as I keep getting problems with my old headset, now let me just sort that out. Vessier in 8th position there, Percy in 9th. They've dropped Coop by 3.25 seconds. There's the RB and Racing Bull in the background. Knowlesy and Serious Mushroom there, very close to the back. There it is, and this is the battle again then. And this time, is it clean as a whistle? It is clean as a whistle. Jinner retakes the lead. Kiki on a sniff on the inside then, and Jinner still has DRS, and of course the detection zone is way back in around turn 7 or 8 then. But Jinner takes the lead, then gets past Kiki. R2 beat then for a multiple Grand Prix winner has a 3-second penalty. Is that going to be costly later on in this one? Jinner leads, but now the shoe is on the other foot. It is Kiki with DRS out to the final turn, and now Kiki is going to have a good run going down into turn 1 then, and here they come. They're coming towards us now. Here comes Kiki. He's out for the slipstream, goes up the inside, takes the lead of the Australian Grand Prix, gets ahead of Jinner in the Aston Martin. Now then, as they all run very close together, and these two drivers are becoming great rivals in this opening Grand Prix, but Kiki keeps the position then. But there's now going to be DRS down that back straight, and quite gimmicky DRS for any older fans out there. Of course, I remember there was a good old battle between Jacques Villeneuve and Damon Hill here in 1996, and we didn't have any DRS back then, did we? And of course, Villeneuve could have and should have won his debut race before he had issues and had to let Damon Hill through. But enough about that then. And of course, it is the Aston Martin who retakes the lead, gets past the Williams, and which was what Hill and Villeneuve was driving in that day in 1996, albeit they was powered by a Renault engine rather than a Mercedes engine. But it was still a blue car. Equals then catching, but not close enough then to Styles. I wonder how much errors deployment is Styles used there. Look at Percy in the background. Got back past Vesser and is now very much on the mission here. All of the coming up to the up behind Equals, all up in the grill of Styles and Equals. And Kiki on the back straight, and these two yo-yoing around. And what a battle so far then in the opening exchanges in this Grand Prix. We're coming to quarter distance in this 58-lap Grand Prix. Here comes Kiki, no dice into turn 1, but of course he still has DRS, and the detection point was back in turn at the exit of turn 12. Kiki having a look up the inside, not quite though. So Jinner keeps that position, and Percy also not getting past Equals at the moment there. Vessier is just agonisingly just outside of DRS there. DRS is quite a powerful tool around here. There's 4 DRS zones around this circuit, which is a bit overkill potentially. Of course, the new DRS was was added in 2022, wasn't it? After the circuit modifications, which personally, I like the old circuit myself, but there you go. But that's because I'm old. On the outside goes Kiki, retakes the lead, gets past Jenner. This is going to be a race-long battle, this is. It's going to be all about pit stops. It's going to be all about what to do and lack of penalties. And talking of penalties, Jenner's got a penalty. And of course, we've got Justify on the hard tyres with DRS in the top two, been battling away. Equals is under 6th position, on board with Justify now. He has never scored a point in the event league, but all of a sudden he's got pole position tonight, and now the star of the show here in Australia is catching the top two of Kiki and Jinner. And of course, is that the hard revvers getting quicker than the medium, or is it the two drivers in the front have been battling so hard that Justify has caught up? I think it's more of Justify's just got some electric pace out there tonight because he is flying, and he's also gapped out Marsky as well. Kiki and Jenner's are battling, looks to be serving Justify in terms of making up time. The gap is down 2 seconds down to 1 second, and now less than a second, says White Shadow. And we're back on board with Justify. This is going to get very fruity. Don't go anywhere, folks. And what a way to celebrate Hump Day here at midweek. Then on Wednesday, incredible fighting here. Remember that we are expecting more weather later on. There is, but at the moment it's beautiful sunshine here in Albert Park. Look at that, then beautiful stuff indeed as the crowd are flocked into Albert Park as well to see the ALR drivers in action. Styles is got through. Percy's going to get through as well. He has got through, and Percy now into 7th position there. And of course, I think that the hard tyres, I'm not sure if that's the hard tyres effect or if it's more driver effect. I'm kind of on the fence about that one. Is that Knowlesy has, I thought Knowlesy was going to get past Serious Mushroom there, but no, not quite then, as Serious Mushroom stays in 12th position. Knowlesy in 11th at the moment. Justify has taken, there's an issue. Jinner's got no front wing, and I think that Jinner's done a Michael Schumacher and crashed into the wall in the final corner, and Jinner, who was pushing as hard as he can, but the Aston Martin's got a wing, damaged the front nose cone. Oh dear, Jinner got in a penalty, and now wing problems there for Jinner. Justify is up into 2nd position there, so I think that Jinner went too wide into the final turn, and Kiki's off the circuit. Oh, what's happened? And the Justify's in the wall, he's out of the race. It is a safety car, I think, and it's out similar, I think that's similar to Vettel and Kubica in 2009, but Justify, who has been fantastic all races, out of the Australian Grand Prix. And Kiki was slow at the exit of 4, and I'm wondering if Justify and Kiki came together, because then Justify crashed into the barrier of turn 5 and is out of the Australian Grand Prix. And this has really helped, I think it's really helped not lose any more time, because that front nose cone change may actually help him in the grand scheme of things. White Shadow, no, absolutely no. That is heartbreaking for Justify. I felt at that stage of the Grand Prix in the last 3 or 4 laps, Justify was the quickest driver on circuit, but a safety car has got to really throw up the one for the books now. But Justify, what a shame for the pole sitter, who has been superb in this event, and that is so heartbreaking for Justify. He absolutely deserved points in this one. And Jinner, 3-second penalty, damaged the front wing, and now a 10-second penalty. It's all going wrong for the Aston Martin driver. Stops on this mark, set onto the medium tyres again. Kiki's also on medium as well. Of course, remember then that they don't need to use 2 types of tyres here, but Jinner's now got a 10-second penalty to either serve in his next pit stop or at the end of the race, then, of course, then. But I have a feeling he will be serving at the next pit stop. We ain't even at half distance yet in this race, but Jinner has lost 2 positions there. Marsky is now on the hard tyre, is Marsky. Safety cars out. We got a lot of pit stops here. Soft tyres going on for Jamie there, so I'm surprised about that one. I wonder if that's a miscommunication now for the Alpine team, because I don't think the soft tyres, unless he wants to make up a lot of position and gamble on a safety car in the next couple of laps. But I would say that we may not get a safety car, but safety cars breed safety cars, don't they? Of course, with this safety car, the field all started to bunch up again, and we could see a lot more drama in this race. Justify has left the session there. That is an absolute shame now for Justify. It really is that ninth Grand Prix start for Justify tonight, but sadly that is such a shame there for the for Justify. And well, to be honest, if this race was only 19 laps long, then Justify would certainly be drive the day, but out of the Grand Prix. Sadly, 17 cars still run out of the 19 that started. Mad Max did start the race, but technical gremlins has really besieged his debut in ALR with lagging and dropping out and in the session now. Goodness gracious me. And then, of course, Justify, we just seen it in the war. Justify just commented, man. Justify, hopefully you can let us know what happened there, because we just seen that you was in the war and Kiki was recovering then. I surmise that maybe you and the Williams driver come together then, but of course I am very sus about that, so hopefully Justify will let us know, but maybe Justify probably doesn't, probably would rather not speak about the incident then, or that moment in the race then. Jenner has stayed out then, of course, got a couple of penalties coming in now on lap 22 out of 29. I'm not doing the I'm on the wrong night then. We got 13-second penalty for Jenner, so that is a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And then, of course, that 3-second penalty earlier on there. 3-second penalties for Jamie, for Vessier, and for R2B as well. So that is going to be crucial if there's a late safety car. But of course, with this race just coming up to half distance, oh no, what has happened there? And that's carnage at the back between Reflections and Jay Hinks, and that's a 10-second penalty for Jay Hinks. Jay Hinks will be able to service that in the pit lane, and if the safety car stays out for one lap, Jay Hinks can service that in the pit lane, get a wing change, and come back out. But it does depend if that safety car stays out. Kiki spun in my direction, and I was doing my best to avoid it, then oversteered into the wall. Justify saying, oh, that is such a shame then. Of course, that is heartbreaking for Justify then. Trying to react to the issues that the Williams driver had, and just as Justify got himself up to second position. I know it probably doesn't mean much at the moment, Justify, but I would say that you was this commentator's driver of the day, because you were superb in that race, and that is such a shame that Motorsport. Now we've got 10-second penalty where the drivers, and that's a whole wing gone for Riley, as he's gone straight into the back of Jamie, who's on the soft tires. What is occurring here? And the safety car will stay out, so I feel that this might be a blessing in disguise then for Riley, and Hinks will be able to change their wings here, but that is not ideal. I'm not sure if there's been erratic braking out there, but not ideal at all. And they will be able to service their 10-second penalties now, but that surely will be investigated after the race. Justified, don't worry, I'll be back then. Great stuff to take it in your stride. I must say, Justify, I'll be fuming at this moment in time. A great drive indeed, that would Justify. And to be honest, Justify, looking on the bright side, and why shouldn't he? Because what a start here in Australia. One of the more tougher races of the season, and he is he's got into that Ferrari, and it suits him down to the ground, doesn't it? So good stuff indeed there for Justify. Hashtag justice for Justify, says White Shadow. That takes us back. We had a hashtag justice for Danger Times, I think it was, way back when in ALR. Goodness me. Gosh, I've been doing this far too long, haven't I? Riley's on soft tires. Interesting. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about these soft tires. You know, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe actually it's soft tires, short stint, medium tires to the end. Then, whilst the other drivers do not have to pit. None of these drivers have to have another pit stop, because, of course, when you started on the intermediate tires, you do not have to use two types of the dry tires, of course, which is a standard rule in Grand Prix racing in a normal dry scenario. But it's not a dry scenario. It was wet for the first 7-8 laps. It's dried up. There has been lovely sunshine since then. However, you see a bit of cloud cover coming overhead here in Melbourne. So and I do think that the rain is going to be on the horizon. Now, of course, one of these curveballs which has been thrown into the mix for the Event League this year, which of course has been brought back courtesy of Percy and Coop. And Brooks is back in the session as well. Safety car's in at the end of this lap then, which has been brought back by Coop and Percy. Is that, of course, we have some stipulations. This race today was a wet to dry race. Who's that in the pits? Styles into the pits. What's happened to Styles? Hungry Styles and pitting just as the safety cars come in the pits then. And that's a terrible restart from Key. And here comes Marsky going to use the might of the Ferrari into turn one, but he backs off. Oh, and he's gone wide actually. Now here comes R2B all over the gearbox of the Ferrari. Marsky has gone from aggressor to defender, and now R2B not quite and into turn number 3, and we've got 2 pit stoppers, Brooksy and Styles into the pits. Contact between Jenner and Percy as Jenner trying to get past, trying to repel the attack from Percy. But so Jenner stays in 4th position at the moment. Equals in at 6th, and everyone is on the medium tyres at the front, all the way down to Jamie on the soft tyres in 12th position, whilst Marsky is on the medium tyres and looked like he had a really good start as Kiki's already out of DRS range, which is going to be crucial, I think, in this part of the race then. On board now with Virginia as we go into 9 and 10, all over the gearbox, no DRS yet, and DRS will be enabled at the end of this lap. What's happened? There's some yellow flags out there somewhere. As it's I don't think it's the Red Bull, because the Red Bull is a ghost, to be honest. On board once again with Ginner. No, Ginner does have a 10-second penalty hanging over him, plus a 3-second penalty for corner cutting after the final turn. Then come on, Marsky, bring it home, brother, says Justify. Of course, because the Ferrari team are the highest place team at the moment, and they were the highest place team with a 3rd and 4th in the race before that last series of events. Damage to Ginner, so the light is a touch, and the wings are damaged, and the cars are very fragile in this Grand Prix. Normally they're quite robust, but here tonight then the cars seem to be falling apart. Goodness gracious me, I don't think the teams have put their cars together very well tonight, have they? But to goodness me, it does make it more entertaining for us. Brooksy is out of the race. I think that there's damage but on repair for the Mercedes driver, so Brooksy's had to call it a day in the Mercedes, and that is a shame. Here comes R2B. Marsky's not going to be able to defend this. I reckon the hard tyres can go to the end, you know. But of course, we all know about my tyre strategy, because they're absolutely boulder dash. What about Vessier? Through he goes, and Reflections. Knowles has got a 3-second penalty, the naughty boy. That's shocking. Vessier, says me. Reflections into 12th position. Where's the McLaren? There he is, a finish with the beautiful pink helmet, the best helmet on the grid. Knowles is that to fight off Vessier, but Vessier's having none of it, and is into 8th position. Look at that. R2B, oh no, it's R2B, sorry, R2B is now in, well, he was in DRS range, never mind, I'll sit back down, because obviously I'm completely wrong. R2B is at the fast half of the race, so absolutely motoring at this stage. Look at this DRS conga line now, all the way down to 15th position, and Stars at the back of the field had to pit out of sorts that when the safety car just come in the pits, and he's got a long way to go now. Stars has the points go all the way down to 15, so currently only one driver is not scoring. It's going to be about, and one thing that the point system was brought in. I think one of the reasons that the point system is going to be crucial in this race, we're on board the soft compound Jamie. One of the reasons why having these points all the way down to 15 is going to be about trying to survive in races where it's not going your way, and it's going to potentially liven up the championship there. I think Cooper didn't want the I think the Coupe wanted the points to stay as 1 to 10 now. But I think that then the other discussion was potentially having them down to 1st to 15, and does try and entice the drivers to stay in these races there. Marsky, though, as far as those hard tyres beautifully. I think that the hard tyre is the best race tyre in this one, you know, because that hard tyre is looking absolutely splendid out there. Shadow saying drivers on softs might be hoping for another safety car to switch back into mediums towards the end when the tyres come up to 10th. Then Shadow, I apologise. Marsky said the fast off race, and I think that's a very good call, to be fair, because there's no way those soft tyres go to the end then, are they? They are gambling on a safety car, which the walls are tight around here. This is very much a street circuit, very untraditionally an unconventional street circuit, but a street circuit nonetheless. Then, in terms of the barriers, are so close to the circuit. But look at it. So Marsky, I think, is once again the quickest driver out there. However, we also got to mention as well that there potentially is some weather still around then, so we could see a spot of rain final three towards this one as well. Then Kiki, R2B, Marsky, that's the top three. That is your podium place at the moment. R2B does have a penalty, of course. Then we got Jenna with a 13-second penalty. Look at that, then it's all condensing down onto Kiki. We've got Jenna, who's got who's got a bit of wing damage as well. Jay Hinks has passed a soft shot car as R2B, who won this race in silver a season ago. Contact was made, and more contact was made as Marsky's trying to sneak his way through. And Marsky will have the outside, then R2B is flipping the bird, and now up the inside goes R2B as he fights keeps the position. Marsky, though, is going to have a good run out of the final turn, and up and under. Jenner's lost out then to Percy as well, as they're all slipstream then, and here comes Marsky, but R2B is absolutely flown away from him into turn one. Wow, good series of corners there. And of course, R2B lunging down the inside. Jamie's got another 3-second penalty. That's his second 3-second penalty of tonight, then, unfortunately, for the Williams driver. And look, this is a bit of a horror show for Jenner at the moment, and fighting for the lead. Then it's gone a bit wrong now. I wonder if he was still a bit flustered about the battle with Kiki potentially, and that's what caused him wing damage. And then a 10-second penalty as well. So it's all kind of been rolling out of control so far for Jenner, but we're going up to half distance in this race, and this is 100% then. Marsky, patience please, says Justify, and there is Marsky then on board with the Ferrari driver again, and who I feel is very quick at this stage. Knowles is out of DRS range. Of course, DRS, I keep saying it feels like a broken record. DRS is a very important tool in this Grand Prix. Vesser on the outside of Coop then, but Coop slams the door shut on his toes. Oh, my word, that softy catchy monkey, says Shadow, says White Shadow then, out of the follow turn then, and back up to the front again then. So as Brooksy left the session, he's out of the race already. 16 cars remain out of the 19 that started. Was that showing off in the background? No, it is alright. I just seen a white dot in the background. Vessier is through, passes Coop. Coop is going to go up and under then. Coop then has DRS. Both drivers have DRS then, so Vessier will be able to repel this attack ever so slightly, and he does repel the attack then, but he's out of DRS now, down that back straight into 9 and 10 then, which is very crucial. It's a crucial part of this race then. Kiki leads, R2B in second position, back on board now with the Alpine driver. And R2B, then, as we mentioned before, has had championships. No, he hasn't had a championship. He was third in season 3, but he's got 7 Grand Prix wins with 14 podiums. R2B certainly knows how to race within these long distance Grand Prix, and he has now made his way up in the second position. The only caveat to that, though, is that he has a 3-second penalty, of course. But if there's no late rain, there's rain on the Ferrari, the Ferrari monocoque then. Oh dear, Marsky, that is, now this is where it's going to get tricky, I think, then. And that looks like a lot of rain, actually. And this rain has come out of nowhere. We did say there was still some weather around, but I still felt that it was quite a number of laps away. Reflections has got past Vintage, out of the final turn then. But the rain then, that's big droplets of rain into the pits already comes up. That's a Haas, it's Equals into the pits already. Also Vintage and Jamie's in as well. I think it's too early for the intermediate tyres, you know, but let's see what they do. It's Inters for 4 drivers that have come into the pits. I think that's a bit too early, but what do I know? But those are really big droplets of rain. On board with the Ferrari, we've got Coop as in soup passes of Vessier, and this is going to disable DRS. If the rain gets too heavy, that DRS will be disabled, and that's been a main tool of the overtaking. And look at that slide there from Alex. Incredible stuff. Coop up a new 6th position, back at the front then. I'm wondering now, is Marsky going to struggle, because he's the only driver on the hard compound tyres there, and of course the more it gets wet, the more it's going to affect the tyres, the harder tyres, because they will have less grip then. Kiki's got to defend here. He ain't going to be able to, though, because contacting Kiki in the wall, and goodness gracious me, and well, I'm wondering if that was the slippery circuit there, or did R2B and Kiki not give each other room? Safety car. There's a safety car out there, and I think that's for the debris from Kiki's car. It is from Kiki's car. And we did say safety cars breed safety cars, don't they? Now this is going to get interesting. What tyres are all these drivers going to go on? Because I think it's still too dry, you know. But as I said, that this rain is heavy into the pits. R2B, Marsky into the pits as well, as is Percy's made his way up in the third position. Jenner will be able to serve that 10-second penalty, but unfortunately for Jenner, the grid is very close, and I think that Jenner's going to drop umpteen positions here. Kiki, the race leader, but Jenner and Kiki, both former race winners, have all come a cropper, haven't they, in this one? And now Williams Mechanics going to work that intermediate tyres going on for the Williams. So ain't too bad. There is Bert Mylander, as Nolsey having to queue up here. Everyone is on intermediate tyres. I'm surprised that no one took a gamble and stayed out on the dry tyres, but I do feel that this rain is so these are big droplets of rain. I feel that this one is well, I think that intermediate tyres are not too far away. We're going to have to take stock in this one because there's so much going on. Vessier's had a horrific pit stop, and it's because of Jinner. So Jinner having to take a 10-second penalty and plus to change his front nose cone, which meant that Vessier has also suffered as well. So both Aston Martins are not going to be too friendly with each other at the end of this one, are they? As Jinner, 10-second penalty, nose cone change, and that is also hampered Vessier as well. Mad Max in the pits, but Mad Max is a ghost then. So everyone is still on the same lap. This is perfect for Styles to get himself back into this one. Everyone is still on the same lap. I got an email, fantastic, from Tesco's. No. So I get rid of all that. I don't care about Tesco's at the moment. Having said that, I do care if I've got some more points. So safety car's out. R2 beat leads. It has a 3-second penalty. Marsky is second now. A great drive from Ferrari of Marsky. Third position is Lucas Percy, making his way up the order nicely. Coop as in Soup is in fourth. Kiki is in fifth position with Equals in sixth. Nolsey in seventh position. Eighth position is Serious Mushroom. Reflections in ninth. Vintage in 10th position. It's Jamie in 11th. Jinner down into 12th. 13th position is Jay Hings. Riley in 14th with Vessier in 15th. Styles we're on board with now in 16th position. The only driver who is not scoring at the moment, and the points go all the way down to 15th. And of course, Mad Max, unfortunately, out of the race set earlier on. Then connection issues, and look at that. Then, so yes, all intermediate tyres is a no-brainer, really. Is that this commentator was trying to be clever? Absolutely no. And Brooksy out, and also Justify out of the race as well. In second safety car period of the night in terms of penalties at the moment. Let's just take a little look. 6-second penalty now for Jamie. Everyone else is on free who has a penalty, which is Jinner, Vessier, Nolsey, and the race leader R2 beat then. So that is crucial, that is crucial in this race moment. A late safety car could really make or break your races, and depending on who's got penalties and what position you're in. That track is very wet. I think we're going to be wetter than what it was on the opening stage of this race as well. So the winners and losers, the winners and losers halfway through this race then. For 7th position is Coop then. Great start, great race so far. Serious Measurement 8. Reflections up 8th position as well. Sadly for Jinner, it's been a testing race down 8. And for Vessier down 9. Both Aston Martins are having to try and race out there. But of course, this is the beauty of about 100%. And you've now got more time to make up. Against your fellow drivers potentially, or even making up positions as well. Oh, gosh. I'm wearing a white shirt again. I always wear a white shirt every time I'm commentating, and it's never a good sign. Wet t-shirt competition, from my point of view, is probably not a good thing to try on a Wednesday. Certainly, if I'm wearing the wet t-shirt as well, goodness gracious me, we're going to be demonetized, aren't we? Hopefully, Alex knows a good lawyer. Safety car is out at the moment. Hopefully, safety car will be in actually. And look at that, those track conditions. I think it is wetter than what it was to begin with. So now this is where the drivers are really going to have to earn their dollar. Remember in the 2025 Australian Grand Prix, we had a wet race there. And remember that Piastri and Norris went off at this corner here. They went off at this corner here, and Piastri didn't get going until very almost a minute, didn't he? And lost a lot of positions there, but he did return. He did make his its way back into the points there as Norris went on to win the race. Let's see what Stars can do. Can Stars do something similar? Can Vintage do something similar as well? Geez, Equals, says Christine. And let's go, Equals. 26 laps to go. Have I got enough time for a shower, says Farf. Depends on how smelly you are, my good sir. To be honest, I've got a big old spider in my bathroom at the moment, so I'm not sure I'm going to have a shower tomorrow. I only just managed to have a wee, to be fair. I'm absolutely terrified of them. They're house spiders, and they're bloody big. That's all I say. I'm just a wimp, though, to be fair. I don't like anything creepy crawly. I had a mini heart attack actually the other day because a moth flew by me. Goodness me. I don't know why, I just get really scared then. But that's because I'm whipped then. Anyway, enough about my dilemmas. And of course, Farf having a shower, which is very unusual because Farf is usually in the bath at this time, isn't he? As of course, that was going to be one of the podcast ideas for ALR back in our younger years, wasn't it? It's Farf in the bath, but sadly Farf refused to record a podcast in the bath, and also as well, Farf is not very talkative more often than not, unless of course someone has crashed them out or he's crashed someone else out. I banter, of course. Safety car in at the end of this lap then, so this is where it's going to get very difficult indeed. When the safety car was called out, the track was almost bone dry. Now it's completely saturated. We are on the intermediate tyres. This is going to be very difficult indeed. You cannot touch those lines at all, then white or yellow, because you're just going to spin like a Beyblade, and you do not want to be doing that, do you? But how are you meant to avoid all these white lines then? That is so difficult on these street circuits, even though this is a parkland circuit. It's going to be very interesting indeed, and I cannot wait to see how this one's going to go. 33 laps then, lap 33 out of 58. Farf says it's 26 laps to go. I'm going to believe Farf because let's be honest about it, my maths has failed me ever since I started doing this jig. It's hard to beat that. We'll not have DRS to defend. We'll not have DRS to fend off now, which is good if you're an R2 fan. Not so good if you're a Marsky fan. When is he going to drop the hammer then? And coming out the final turn, and R2B has dropped the hammer now. He's not 4, but he's certainly R2B across the line, and now he is going to have to get, even though no DRS in there, wouldn't have been no DRS anyway, but he's still going to have to defend for the Ferrari going into turn 1. Serious Mushrooms had a horror show of a start. He's a second back, and same for Reflection as well. And Jamie is Vintage has got through. Vintage is understeering now, and he's lost 2 positions there, and Jamie's almost spinning into the wall there. They're almost all in the wall, and Vintage has got a problem. He's lost power, Vintage has it, and down into 13th position goes the McLaren driver. And we got more swaps as Jamie's dropped down the order, but Marsky leads and has got ahead of R2 and now then can the Ferrari driver start to waltz away? Both Ferrari drivers have looked so strong here tonight, and sadly justify out the race. Marsky is flying the flag for the scoot area. Percy's all over the gearbox now. Jamie and Jerry are swap position. Jenner's dropped down 2 positions as it's getting very feisty. And here comes Percy on the outside. Percy takes 2nd position there. And I wonder if Percy's got more of a wet draw. Safety car again. I don't think that's a safety car, is it? And here comes, and we got more accident. Jenner is lost out, and Jenner's dropped down a couple of minutes. Oh, there's the wing gone again there for Jenner. And that's another pit stop for the Aston Martin. And, well, we got a safety car out there, apparently, but I can't see Burnt Mylander on the track map at the moment. Oh, my word. Absolute anarchy at the moment, and I don't think so. Ignore that safety car because I think we'll still go. So Marsky leads, but Percy is now hunting him down. Then as we come out to complete lap 34 of the Grand Prix, then so it is Marsky leads. Second is Percy. Then we got R2B, Coop, and then Kiki as well. Kiki trying to make his way back into 5th position. There's the Ferrari looking very strong here tonight. Then Percy is looking just as strong. Then R2B has had a bit of a horror show restart here, but he has a lot of time to make up. Then Equals in 6th position. Knowlesy up into 7th. Serious Motion there, a 2nd button as O'Reilly's got a 3-second penalty. Jinner back in the pits, and it's a horror show for Jinner, and he is now out of the points. Both McLarens are 14th and 15th, and there's a bit of a difficult day for the McLaren team as well, unfortunately. Jinner coming out of the pits now, new nose cone. I think that's nose cone number 3 or 4 for Jinner, sadly. Marsky is stretched out, a 7th of a second gap then for Marsky. Good stuff indeed. Now with no DRS then, I think that Jinner has crossed the white line. Goodness gracious. gracious me. Sadly for Jenner, he is racking up all penalty points, all penalties at turn 9. Then I think he's trying to get all of them, isn't he? Goodness gracious me. Reminds me of my Pokemon card collection days. Into 9 and 10. Knowles, look at that. The track is saturated. Surely the intermediate tires are going to start to struggle here. The intermediate tires can disperse 60 litres of water per second. The wet tyres can disperse 80 litres of water per second. Or is it something like that? I don't know. Carl, what happened to Jenner? I do not know, to be honest. We has folks at the front then, but it looks like Jenner has lost his front nose cone again. Unfortunately, Jenner has lost. He's had 3 or 4 pit stops now in this race, and it's been difficult for Jenner as comes back from the field. He made contact with Kiki, and then had Morris. He's had a 10-second penalty for Jenner, and then he's been in the wards again. And I'm not sure if he made contact with Jay Hings or it's Jamie. Then one of the blue cars seemed to have caused some issues. Riley's in the pit set. I wonder if Riley's got. No, Riley's out of the race, and I thought Riley was coming into the pits and maybe going to the wet tyres, but there's technical problems for the Haas car, and that's a shame. That'll put Jenner back into the points. Of course, you do, like Le Mans, though, you have to finish this race. You have to cross the line in this race. As long as you cross the line, you can get points there, albeit it doesn't matter how many laps you are. Does it matter how many laps you are behind? I suppose as long as it doesn't take the mick, I suppose. Percy is still challenging Marsky. R2B is struggling in these conditions. I wonder if that Alpine is more set up for the dry. Even though in terms of Formula 1 these days, dry and wet setups, it's not too far apart compared to the old days. The old days, you used to take the cars apart and put them back together almost every session. They don't do that these days, do they? But of course, they also used to have T cars and all that kind of stuff. I'm showing my age again. Riley out of the race after the session. We're down to 15 cars. Everyone who finished this race will pick up some points. Then as Percy going deep there into turn 11, but just about stayed on the in play. Jenner catching penalties like they are Pokemon. Says White Shadow. Absolutely. I used to love Pokemon. My most cherished card was a Charizard. Into the pits. Percy's in the pits. I think it's too wet now. I think it's full wet. Look at that. Percy. I thought he was going to slow down. But Percy's in the pits. Where the Kick Sauber team? The Kick Sauber in the Dayglow Green. Is that a colour? I think it is. Wet tires is going on then for the Kick Sauber. And Percy in and out. Shaking all about. And what about the Coop also in as well? And so Coop and Percy on the same radio, I think, then into the pits. Also Vintage in as well. And look at the rain. Look at the rain. It's absolutely horrendous. There's issues in turn 1. Who's gone off then? I think that this up Percy. Look at that. He's struggling to get the traction down in that Kick Sauber. It's appalling conditions out there. And sadly for Jenner, I think if he wished he'd put on the wet tyres as well, potentially. 3 drivers are on the wet tyres. Everyone else on the intermediates. How long is this rain going to stay now? Is this rain here to stay, or is there going to be is this just a bit of a shower, a short shower, and then it's going to dry up then? Well, we'll soon see. But look at the spray coming off of the cars here. Wow. I don't know how they're keeping it on track. This is fantastic. Here comes Kiki back up into third position there. Marsky as Wolstoff. He's about 2 seconds in front of the rest of the field on lap 37. And incredible stuff indeed then as they fly underneath me as well. No DRS then going up into turn 11, which I'm quite glad about, to be honest, because now it's going to get really challenging for the drivers, but that's because I'm an evil Knievel. R2B is going to have to get the fence now, and he's going to have to get the fence now. Kiki and R2B can barely keep it in a straight line out there. R2B is struggling. Gap back up to 2.6 seconds. Is anyone going to pit? No, they're all staying out. I feel that I reckon that if you can stay out, if you can ride this wave, literally, if you can ride this wave, you can stay out. I feel into the pits comes Mushroom. Mushroom doesn't like to be wet. He's into the pits now. That is the only driver I think that's coming to the pits. No, Stars is also in the pits as well. Whoa, R2B almost into the grass. Oh my God, and R2B there is really driving in his wing mirrors. As Kiki is not going to have a lunge there, is he? But I do feel if you're off the racing line, normally off the racing line is more grippier than it is on the racing line, because of course the wet tyres will probably grip up more rather than having using the Pirelli rubber, which has been laid down for most of this race, and albeit the track is probably quite green after lap 8. Goodness gracious me. And Farf is back. Good heavens above. Equals, who now Equals is going to be the aggressor in this one. Marski's lost about 3/4 of a second here. Where, as you can see, look at that track there. Goodness me, we're borderline safety car now. Surely Percy's 8.7 seconds behind that. Surely this is going to be borderline safety car. This is getting very, very dangerous indeed for the drivers. And how are they keeping it on the island is beyond me. And there's more water on the circuit than it is in the lake in the middle of Albert Park. Incredible stuff indeed. Wow, this just shows how incredible these drivers are, because look at that, that the camera can see more than what the drivers can, because we are looking down and into the spray, whilst the drivers are looking up and out of the spray. If you get the cut of my jib, our Vessier is in 8th position, Jay Hinks is down to 9th, goodness me, got a bit of a conga line now, and whoa, Jamie then, wow, very much like a shopping trolley, that Alpine car is. Both the Alpines are not really keen on these weather conditions, are they? I was surmising might be there's Nosey up to 5th, and Nosey is enjoying these conditions as well on the intermediate tyres. I was surmising that it might be the Alpine setup, but actually I'm going to retract that statement. I wish I could retract a lot of things, but tonight I'm going to try and retract that statement. I think it's the Alpine car that is just not liking the conditions, aren't they? Marsky and RTB do seem to have stabilised the gap now, and RTB is almost he has got it in under 2 seconds now. Interesting. And Key is now all of a sudden starting to struggle, because Equals is now starting to become all over the gearbox of the Williams car. Inters are better than wets on this game, says Far. And also, come on, Marsky, says Justify as well. Marsky currently leading the way. So, I was kind of glad that Far said that, because that also sounds like I know what I'm talking about as well, because drivers would want to stay on the intermediate tyres as much as possible, because like in real life, I don't think the wet tyres are very good on this game. Having said that, I haven't really driven on the wet tyres, but just looking at the field then, the top 9 are staying on the intermediate tyres. Percy's got the gap down to 5.2 seconds. If this is just a short, sharp rain shower, but you can see, looking up there, that is a very, very, very angry sky up there. Goodness gracious me. I would say that the rain is here to stay potentially, but look at that, it's coming in steroids. Oh, excuse me. And look at RTB absolutely launch out the final cut. That is awful. I don't know how the drivers will be able to see into turn 1. They are probably just using all their wits, all their senses they can, then just to hear the car, hear and feel the car rather than to see out of it. Back on board with Kiki, as I mentioned on the onboard camera, it's so much easier. Oh, as R2B has gone wide, Kiki was just not close enough then to jump on that then. As I was saying then, of course, it is so much easier to see on board the car than it is when the driver's looking out of their bathtub, so to speak, isn't it? Because it feels like a bathtub when you sit in there. Marsky, the gap is up to 2.7 seconds. He's doing a great job at that, Marsky has said. R2B has got to pass a Ferrari, which is 2.7 seconds up the road, and is now got to find a 3-second buffer, because Marsky does have, R2B does have a 3-second penalty. 18 laps to go in this enthralling, absolutely incredible Australian Grand Prix. It's been mega stuff indeed then, and my goodness gracious me. I don't know, other drivers are still going in this one then. As this the closer we got to endurance racing in ALR, aren't we? Because we only normally have 45-ish minute racing, which is normally around the half distance of a real Grand Prix. Here tonight in the realistic event league, we have a full 58 laps worth of Australia with variable weather conditions there, curveballs here, there and everywhere. Oh goodness me, it's more curveballs than David Beckham can ping into the box. And he's a very good crosser indeed. Jamie, almost onto the back of Reflections. Reflections doing a great job. Been a bit under the radar, has Reflections, hasn't he? But he's made his way up to a superb 6th position, hasn't he, in the Mercedes? Fantastic. Lucas Percy's got the gap down by another 2 seconds onto the back of this gaggle of cars here, but Percy's got to catch and then pass these drivers with no DRS there. And I think the rain has eased off, and it's still a lot of rain out there, but it's not as heavy as it was just a few moments ago. Then we can see a lot more clearer now out of the cars, but it was absolutely, it was, the heavens had opened here in Australia, haven't they? But all of a sudden then I think that the rain is starting to ease off, and we're starting to see see glimpses of a dry line forming. We're far, far away, I think, from any dry tyre running, but that will help the intermediate runners, I feel, rather than the wet tyres. And Percy, Coop, Serious Mushroom, Styles, Vintage are all going to be concerned about that, because look at that dry line there. Vintage got a 3-second penalty. That dry line at the exit of turn 9 and 10, that is not what Percy and the wet runners want to see. Through goes Jamie, back up into 6th position. Reflectors ain't going to be too concerned about that, nor is he going to be too concerned about Reflectors at all, but they might be concerned about the understeer on that Mercedes, because of course the guys that have gone in front of him are the guys that have got penalties. We even see a dry line forming down the straight now, the start-finish straight. So the rain is still heavy, but as we mentioned already in the broadcast, that the best way to drive Formula 1 track is to just throw F1 cars out there and for them to just absolutely splash the puddles away and throw the water back into the sky where it belongs. James getting a 3-second penalty out there. Marsky leads. Second is RTB. Kiki can't do anything about RTB in third position. Equals in fourth. Currently, as it stands, the podium is Serious Mushroom back into the pit. Serious Mushroom back on the intermediate tyres. I wonder if Mushroom is regretting his decision. Kiki has a penalty, and that will promote Equals, the former world champion from season 3, back up into second then. I think he was the last event champion, actually. I think Equals is the defending champion, if I'm not very much mistaken. On board now then with Equals, so he might be happy. RTB's got the gap to under 2 seconds there, as I'm wondering if it's starting to dry. The advantage has gone back to the Alpine car, potentially. This is great stuff, isn't it? The weather is changing the dynamics of this race, corner by corner, lap by lap. It is fantastic to see. Whoa, is R2B, thought he was going to do a Danny Ricciardo, then crash into the barrier. Did he do that in 2019 or something like that then, when he was driving for the Renault team? No, for the Red Bull, actually. It was in 2018. Jenner's got another penalty, sadly, but Jenner's now caught to the back of Serious Mushroom, who's only just come out the pits on very fresh intermediate tyres. And I didn't even fathom this. Will the intermediate tyres get to the end from here? I think they should if they look after them, though. But, of course, that's easier said than done as well, because you've got to manage your car, manage everyone else around you. Goodness gracious me. You've got to get the car into the correct deployment mode. You've got to also make sure these tyres do not fall off. You've also got to make sure you don't fall off the track yourself. And also, goodness me, and also then you've got to make sure you don't crash into anyone. Wow. It's impressive what these drivers do, I must say. Kiki in front of us then, and Equals is putting a bit of deployment in that Haas Ferrari, but Kiki looks to be all fine and dandy as these guys are starting to spread out slightly. R2B has stretched this gap out onto Kiki. I wonder if Kiki has started to just slow down a bit after that 3-second penalty, but Equals is in the ascendancy now. We're on board with Equals as he is just keeping up with Kiki at the moment. Knowlesy has dropped back as well. He's about a second behind us now, almost 2 seconds behind us actually. Jamie into third position has dropped Vescher by a second and a quarter, which Vescher's also been dropped as well. Percy is 2 seconds back. I wonder if that Percy's ruined the coming in the pits on the wet tyres. But however, the drivers that came in on the wet tyres will have fresher intermediate tyres and will by 12 laps if they come in now. Certainly for Serious Mushroom, he is going to be a lot quicker towards the end of this one. It's all about those babysitting those tyres at a lap 44 out of 58 in this grueling Australian Grand Prix. This is round 1 out of 18 of the event league this season, the returning event league as well, which has produced absolutely cracking races over these seasons, and this one is certainly going to be in the top 5, I think. Maybe I'm just being a bit, so maybe I'm being a bit excited about this one, but it's certainly been a cracking race to watch. Marsky currently leads this race at the moment. Marsky has never won a event race before in his career. This is third attempt of racing in the event league. The best race he finished in was actually 7th position. So for Marsky, he has finished every race he's participated in, but he's never been on the podium, but is all of a sudden leading this race. However, though, there is still, well, it's about more of the race left, and Vintage is also coming the pits, and he's had enough of the wet tyres, and it's back on the intermediates. Just like Favre said, the wet tyres are not ideal, are they? And it looks like they were starting to all catch up to Marski again. Has Marski gone a bit too ham on those intermediate tyres, because they're all within a second now? So we've got a Red Bull just in front of us. There's a ghostly Red Bull. Then the Red Bull, sadly, was out long ago, then yonks ago. Marski, though, is going to really have to think about. Look at that, it's so much lighter now, isn't it? So the drivers survived the literal storm, and now should be able to contend with these conditions in the final few laps of this Australian Grand Prix down into turn 1. Marski, R2B, Kiki, Equels, Knowlesy, that is the top 5. 2.5 seconds away from Knowlesy, it's Jamie, it's Versier, not it's Versier. And then we got Reflections, and then we got Jay Hinks into the pits. Comes Percy and Coop. Both have come in, and maybe the wet tyres was not the way to go, so they have made an extra stop. But we'll caveat though, because with just 13 laps to go in this race, that could come back to help them with fresher intermediate tyres. We do not know how long these tyres are going to last. Well, I certainly don't know how long these tyres are going to last. Maybe I should have done my homework first, potentially. But even if I did, I would have forgotten anyway. Well, thank you very much for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. And the weather has been very good outside, hasn't it? We had a bit of rain this morning, but apart from that, it's been all good. Well, it's not, I'd say we've had a bit of rain. We've had a lot of rain in Albert Park. Oh, my word. But luckily, it's not as hot as it was yesterday. And Monday, of course, being a ginger, I think the Marski made a mistake. And now R2B's also gone deep as well. Marski, I think, almost half spun the car. But luckily for Marski fans out there, R2B made a mistake, went in too deep into turn 11, and because of that, he is now he's now 2 seconds back again. So all that work that R2B has done has just been unraveled, and now Kiki is back onto the gearbox of R2B with Equels in 4th position, and Equels is currently on course for 2nd position. If he keeps it clean and tidy, and there's Knowlesy in a great driving 5th position there. Knowlesy in only his 2nd ever event racing, but he did race in 100% in a different category a few years ago, and was pretty good at it from when I was having a gander or a spy on his YouTube. Marski, I do feel, is struggling out there. The gap every time the gap is yo-yoing around, and Marski does seem to be reeled in, doesn't he? Every few laps or so. R2B, I do feel, is the quicker of the 2 cars out there. But who's the quickest? I reckon. I'm not sure, to be honest. I think R2B, Kiki, and Equels, Knowlesy as well, who has also got within a second. This is going to get very fruitful indeed. On board now with Knowlesy, the most experienced driver in gold history now is Knowlesy. He's been around the block, hasn't he? As Knowlesy, but it's certainly making that experience count tonight there. Driver as Favre is primarily ready to go with the driver today, as he has asked for positions. It is Knowlesy who's up 9 positions, same with Reflections as well. Hungry Styles up 6. So those are the big movers and shakers then, isn't it? Marski has driven a superb race. He's only got up 2 positions, but has managed this race superbly well. R2B has also done one, and Equels has done great, but with no penalties either. But I think Reflection stands out for me for driver of the day, but luckily, I am not the man in charge of driver of the day. It is Favre who's in charge for driver of the day, and of course, he will put out the votes momentarily. Back at the front then, so Marski leads this race. He's been in the lead for quite a number of laps now, hasn't he, Marski? I said, and I just feel that the more as the laps count down, Marski, the pressure might just start to build for the Ferrari driver. What are the penalties? Says White Shadow. Let's have a gander. Oh, we've got some issues at the back. It's Styles off the circuit as Styles recovers, but is into the pits. I think he's on the wet tyres. Is Styles? I think that on one of those wet tyres are just getting burning off now, because there's not enough water out there, is it, for the wet tyres? So Styles into the pits. Both McLaren McLarens are on course to score some points, though. As long as they keep going, then with just 10 laps to go in this race, and Star's in and out then on the inters and is back in the race, and the gap is once again under a second. Penalty situation then for White Shadow. Thank you very much for keeping with us. R2 Beat 3 seconds, Kiki 3 seconds, Knowlesy 3 seconds, Jamie 6 seconds, Vessier 6 seconds, Jay Hings 3 seconds, Jenner 16 seconds, 3 seconds for Vintage. And I think that Jenner also got another 10-second penalty in there somewhere as well. Coming across the line, Marsky leads and is extending this gap ever so slightly, but they are homing in on him now. Of course, as Murray Walker used to say, I think it was Martin Brunel actually, he rather chase than be chased then. But Marsky is definitely handling the pressure very well. I remember that quote quite a lot when I used to race on F1 at 97. But Marsky is certainly handling the pressure very well, isn't he? But every time, every corner, or every lap, then that Alpine, the pink and blue Alpine machine is just getting closer and closer to Marsky, and he is towing along with him Kiki, Equels, and Knowlesy. And then Jamie is 2.5 seconds back as flying past United. I think that any drivers who were on the wet tyres was probably ruin it now. Lucas Percy is in 10th position. He's got fresh tyres though. Only done 3 laps for Percy and Coop. Stars on new tyres, and so is Serious Mushroom and Vintage as well. So those drivers then will have quick laps now then, but whether they've lost too much time for pitting that extra time remains to be seen. Locking up that tyre, and very much I thought he's going to go on into the scenery there. Thank you very much there to White Shadow for subscribing, appreciated very much so. Thank you. Hopefully we'll get to 700 subscribers. I think we're is it 700 subscribers? Yeah, 700 subscribers by the end of the season. But I've been saying that for the past couple of seasons. But I think the Serious Russian needs to create some more fake YouTube accounts. I mean, we don't do that. How dare us? Loving the commentary, mate. Definitely have Murray's enthusiasm. I do, but it's a shame I don't have Murray's vocabulary or knowledge then. But thank you very much there. And it's been a very tricky one as well. I kicked me bottle of Coke over earlier on, and since then I've been very parched then, but of course I'm not going to be as parched as what the drivers are, as they are probably struggling in the cars. And Marsky's back in once again trying to step out. That car is not looking very happy at the moment, is it? I do feel that R2 Beat needs to start to think about an attack sooner rather than later, because time is running out. He has to get past the Ferrari, and then he has to disappear 3 seconds down the road if he wants to win this Grand Prix. R2 Beat has already won 7 Grand Prix in his event career. Can he win 8 though? And join Lucas Percy, who has the most Grand Prix wins in this event category. But Marsky, in only his 3rd Grand Prix, is aiming to win his 1st Grand Prix in his 3rd race. That's incredible stuff indeed there. Absolutely fantastic for Marsky. Really ripping up the form book in that Ferrari and looking strong indeed. Kiki, of course, are also a Grand Prix winner as well. Out of these runners at the top, then I would say then that Marsky and Knowlesy are the 2 drivers that have only started. Knowlesy's only started 1 Grand Prix. This is his 2nd Grand Prix tonight, and Marsky's only started 3 Grand Prix. Both drivers have never won a race in the event league before. Whilst R2 Beat, Kiki, and Equals have won at least 4 Grand Prix. Of course, so there's a lot of experience at the front now. Marsky is now under the cosh then, as the rain is just dropped down to a drizzle now. Oh my word. And the track is certainly not as saturated as it was once upon a time a few laps ago. My word. Is anyone going to throw caution to the wind and go for that win then? They have done so well to survive 50 laps, and with all the elements thrown towards them. We've had 4 odd seasons here in Australia. The only thing we haven't had tonight is snow. Here comes Kiki. Vessier's got a 3-second penalty. Kiki is not having... I thought he was going to have a look then. With DRS, he would have got by there, but as you said, that no DRS. And Marsky's got a 3-second penalty. The pressure has now been thrown onto Marsky's side then, and it is Equels who is the de facto leader in this Grand Prix. And another wet race where we had to think about aggregate timing, of course, was the Japanese Grand Prix in 1994. Potentially Damon Hill's best ever Grand Prix win in his Williams Renault. And he beat the Rainmaster himself, Michael Schumacher, in his Benetton Ford. So at the moment, it is this man, Equals, who is now in the box seat as Marski thrown away the win after 50 superlative laps then. Anything can happen still. We've still got 7 more laps to go. Then this is still anyone's ball game for anyone, I would say, in the top 10, to be fair. Yes, the gaps, that's the interval short, not the gaps. Not the gaps to the leader, but I would still say It's Jamie has also got a chance with this one as well. Of course, I think It's Jamie, who is a reserve tonight, is he? I'm not sure, to be honest. I'll have to have a look in a minute, but it's Jamie also having a chance to win a Grand Prix here. Oh, this is going to get very interesting. The Driver of the Day vote is out then, so get your votes in then. So it's Knowlesy, Marski, Reflections, and Equals for Driver of the Day. But we've still got 7 more laps to go there. Equals has dropped back ever so slightly. We're going to have gap to the leader in a minute, aren't we? So the top 15 are the drivers that score, of course. So every driver that finishes this race will get a point then, but they have to finish the race. It's very similar to the Le Mans rule, which I didn't even know was a rule, actually, until I watched the video the other day. So of course it doesn't matter how much you finish. It's like was it the Toyota that broke down with 3 minutes to go, didn't they? If they just completed that final lap, they would have been classified. Well, they was leading the race, actually, wasn't they? 3 minutes from winning the Le Mans race back in 2016, and then they broke down and they wasn't classified because they didn't complete that final lap. Of course, so that is what is so the drivers must complete the final lap there, as must just complete the final tour then to be classified. Marski, though, I think he's got to get that penalty issue out of his mind now. Yes, it's heartbreaking, but still, he doesn't know what Equals is doing. How many warnings Equals has got? You get 3 warnings and then you get a penalty. So Equals could be on 2 warnings already. We do not know that either. But as we're on board with Equals and Kiki running ever so slightly wide, but keeping it on the straight and narrow, which is important. There it is. So that is the gaps to the leader now. So the gaps to the leader is 2 seconds then for Equals. Equals, if he gets a penalty, then that is going to make his life a lot more difficult. But Equals is on the brink then to win his 6th Grand Prix of his career in the event championship, which is fantastic stuff indeed. Really well done indeed there for Equals. But it's not all done and dusted yet. Then I'm giving him congratulations when he's still got 6 more laps to go. And the job is not done yet. And it's a perfect opportunity to take stock of the 15 drivers that are running out there. We have got, and there's a lapped McLaren. We've only got, we haven't lapped anyone yet. That's fantastic driving. We have our 2 safety cars, which has been the only respite in this race tonight. The drivers have been racing flat out since lap 1. And goodness me, and as we are coming over to the final stage of this Grand Prix, so we've only had 2 safety car periods where we've been touring beyond the safety car for 3 or 4 laps. And so apart from those 8 laps, the rest of the laps, the drivers have just been going absolutely pedal to the metal and really putting their toes down. It's been great to watch, it's been great to witness, and it's been great to experience, hasn't it? Marski leads but has a penalty, 3 seconds. R2B is second, has a penalty, 3 seconds. Kiki has a penalty, 3 seconds. Equals does not have a penalty, is 1.5 seconds away from the race leader of Marski and is currently on course to win the Grand Prix. Knowlesy has a 3-second penalty in 5th position. It's Jamie has caught up to the back of this gaggle of cars and it's now a 6-way for the Grand Prix lead then. He has a penalty as well. Vessier is 7th, 8th is Reflections, 9th is Jay Hinks with Percy in 10th. 11th is Coop as in soup. 12th position is Jinner. 13th is Serious Russian. Styles in 14th and Vintage in 15th position. Retirement justify the race. Heartbreak for the Ferrari driver. Brooksy out of the race in the Mercedes. And Riley also out of the race. Reflex has got a penalty. That is heartbreak. Coop has got a penalty as well. That's also heartbreak for Coop. It shouldn't affect any of their positions. So, but Reflections potentially could have been on of course, to finish 7th position. R2B got right to the back of Marski, but then fell away in the final 2 corners there for R2B, and Marski did get away ever so slightly, but the gap has gone down to 4/10 of a second as Marski's back end then once again looked a bit flighty out of turn 2. And R2B then is all over the gearbox again then with 5 laps to go in this one. Jamie then is just sitting happy in 6th position in that second Alpine car. If James is a reserve driver, the reserve drivers do not contribute to the constructors' points, because the reason why is because if the full-time drivers don't turn up, then the team should not be awarded for reserve drivers stepping in, but the reserve drivers do score drivers' championship points as one of the Red Bulls clouting the barrier there. I think that was Mad Max, who's not been in the car for umpteen laps now for Mad Max, sadly. Marski, though, has extended his gap by 8/10 of a second. I do feel there's a lot of strategical elements going on in these cars in terms of the battery deployment. These Formula 1 cars are hybrid machines since 2014 then. Goodness me, that doesn't feel like 10, 11 years ago either, does it? Goodness gracious me. As we go into the turn 12, I think it's turn 11, I should say, and then into turn 12. Oh, me pole's up on the screen, fantastic. To be honest, I was trying to see if that actually looked any good, but it doesn't really look good down there, does it? Annoyingly. But I will find a way to sort this poll out eventually. I don't know where to pull it, to be honest, because everywhere just doesn't feel right to me. But anyway, never mind. We'll get there eventually, won't we? As just coming out of turn 1 again, and gap is back up to a second now. But I think that we should be watching this gap here, because this is getting very interesting indeed. The gap is now up to 2 seconds between Equals and Marski. So Marski is the one. Not Marski. Equals is the one then. It's got to keep an eye on that gap then. White Shadow. Looks like those tyres are starting to go. Can see a few drivers slowing a lot then. Come on, Marski. We got this. Marski currently has a penalty at the moment, and that is what's costing him. He needs to find another 9/10 of a second to the Haas car if he wants to win the Australian Grand Prix, the first race of the season. And what a way to start it then. I'm trying to remember, when's the last time Ferrari won the Australian Grand Prix? Was it 20? No, it's Charles Leclerc, wasn't it, in 2022? So can Marski replicate Charles Leclerc's win here a few seasons ago? Well, fantastic. But he's still got a lot of work to do, hasn't he, Marski? As we got Percy's got past Jay Hinks and over to 9th position there. Percy's tires are 14 laps younger than Jay Hinks. His next target is Reflections, who's 8 seconds down the road with just 4 laps to go in this one. Marski's extended his gap. The gap is now 1.2 seconds. It was looking a bit hairy just a few moments ago, but Marski's stretched it out again as they come across the line. And R2B is starting to get defensive here because Kiki is now really trying to push the Alpine into a mistake into turn 1. Marski again drifted. I get very nervous when they drift around turn 1. I keep feeling they're going to spin off. Jinner's got another penalty, unfortunately. I think that's 19 seconds of penalties now for Jinner. Knowles is then just dropping off the back of Equals. I thought he was going to have a bite to the cherry, but not quite. Fair play, by the way, to the lack of runners that got lapped here. It has been absolutely fantastic. Sainz 1 and 24. Goodness me. Shocking stuff, Sean Hayden. As Equals is through, passes Kiki, and up into 4th position. Stiles has got another 3-second penalty. Here comes Kiki as he's going to come back on the outside of the Haas car, is he? No, not quite then. Thank you very much, Justify. At least someone's paying attention. Goodness gracious me. And of course, I think that he won after coming back from his appendix as well. I don't know what it is about the later years of F1, but I think it's just because I'm getting older. But I do seem to forget a lot more of the recent races. Stiles is off the circuit. He's come back on now, Stiles has, but that may have ended his challenge potentially of going for Serious Mushroom. He's now about 23 seconds up the road. Look at Marski. The gap is 1.5 seconds. Equals is 2.1 seconds back. He has dropped dropped off as this gaggle of cars is starting to split up. There's Vessier. He is catching, but I feel that it's going to be too little too late there for Vessier, sadly. But certainly he's going to give it a go with just 2 laps to go at this Australian Grand Prix. Vintage got a 3-second penalty, unfortunately at the moment. There are the penalty situations at the moment then, with just 2 more laps to go here in Australia. And of course, the next week we're in China, aren't we, for the Chinese Grand Prix. That's the only time ALR is visiting China, because of course we haven't got it on the official calendar, because we went straight to Japan, which is very unusual. The Japanese Grand Prix at round 2, isn't it? We've got a lot of 94 references tonight, and of course last time Japan was round 2 and the championship was in 94. But of course that was in the AIDA circuit, which I think was not a bad circuit at all personally, but I did race it on the original F1 game, which a lot of you probably wasn't even born, which makes me very sad. And looks like that Jamie was having a sniff been on the back of Nosey. Look at this. Oh my goodness me. I'm so impressed with these drivers, how they're still able to keep the car in a forward motion, then when they're fighting the car still at such a late stage of this race, and after 57 tours of this Australian Grand Prix, is absolutely mind-blowing. Marski is on the final lap now, but the gap is 1.8 seconds then. Marski has got to find some time if he can, but let's see what he can do then. That McLaren has skated off the circuit then, but he's a lapped car. I think that's Styles and is just recovering. Equals currently is the leader. R2B has gone wide. R2B needs Equals needs R2B to have a clean lap here, because he doesn't want to be held up. If he's held up by a second, the win goes to Marski. And after 58 laps, we're still talking about who could win the Australian Grand Prix. Well, my goodness gracious me. Marski then, there he is, and there's the captain. Here comes Equals, and he's all over the gearbox now of R2B. He cannot be held up, but he also has to go for it, surely. He's on the outside. R2B then repels the attack then into turn 9 and 10. Wow. Oh, mega stuff indeed then. Absolutely going through the pain barrier tonight. And an absolute phenomenal race, says White Shadow. It absolutely has been. And even on lap 58, even 58 tours, and we still haven't decided who is going to win the Australian Grand Prix. And my goodness gracious me. Come on, R2. Out of the final turn, and Justify wants R2 to hold up Equals because he wants Marski to win. But I think it's too late. Out of the final turn, and Equals wins the Australian Grand Prix. What an incredible opening race here in Australia. It has been an absolutely tough race out there, with all the elements, all the seasons of Albert Park battering the Formula One drivers here tonight then. But it's Equals who takes his 5th win, is it? Hang on, let me get my old spreadsheet up. His 6th win of his career. Of course, Equals, I think he's the defending champion when he won it in season 4, I think it was. So Equals, the defending champion there, who has won the opening race here in Australia. Absolutely phenomenal stuff indeed then for Equals. And then also as well, Drive of the Day goes to Nosey, 42%, Marski 28, Equals 28. Really good stuff indeed then. And what a race, says Nosey. Wow, what a race then, says Justify. Hold him up please, says Justify. Sadly it was too little too late. Poof, says R2B then. Incredible stuff indeed. Christy, Equals, I knew he would do it. It might have been a bit touch and go then, but he was look at that. Oh yes, even a fantastic performance on the podium as well as on the circuit. Race winner Equals is 6th of his career. Marski passes that. Driver of the Day goes to Nosey. Most overtakes for Nosey as well. And the cleanest driver was Equals. And final classification from the Australian Grand Prix. Equals is 6th win of the event league. Marski 2nd and fastest lap. R2B in 3rd, with Kiki in 4th, with Nosey Halsey in 5th and driver of the day. Jamie in 6th. Reflections in 7th. Great drive for Reflections as well. 8th for Vessier. Percy in 9th and ruined the going on to those wet tyres for JJ Hinks. And Coop in 10th position as well. 11th position is Jenner with a Serious Mushroom in 13th. Styles in 14th. 15th position is Vintage. And then retirements was Mad Max, Riley, Brooksy, and Justify, all retired then from this epic Australian Grand Prix. Right, let's get these old interviews on the go. Hello guys, welcome to the commentary box. I think we've got a bit of echoing going on there from Marsky, but so you don't mind if you mute me on mic for a minute, Marsky. Thank you very much, my good sir. Let's come to Equals making his 6th Grand Prix win of his career. Fantastic stuff indeed, Equals. It was very much pressure right through to the end of that Grand Prix, but you did it in the end there, albeit finished third on the road, but that doesn't matter, surely.
Hey guys, great race everyone. That was tough. Yeah, we'll see how the penalties go, because sometimes people can get their pens removed. But even still, even if I finish P3 or whatever I did, I'm well happy with that.
You certainly should be as well. The race, we had all kinds of seasons going on in. Oh goodness me! You stolen the show as well. The police are here. Also, we all had 3-4 seasons of Australia. How difficult was it to determine what tires to go on? Because some of your rivals went on the wet tires in the end, and that didn't pay off. Was you thinking about going on the wet tires in that final rain shower?
I was close to doing it. But I made so many like horror strategy calls this race, so I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna stick out, because everything that I'm calling at the moment is like going completely the wrong way. Like with, I think what happened was about halfway through the race we had a safety car. I pitted for the inters, but I think it was a bit too soon. Just things like that. So yeah, I was just happy to just stay out.
Well, it certainly worked fantastically well. And towards the end of the race, then, of course, I used to commentate on the 50%er, so it's a bit difficult towards that second half there. And of course, I would say it's difficult for you as well. But of course, you've been champion in this kind of form of racing before, so it probably was a bit of a doddle out there, wasn't it?
No, I was not a doddle at all. It was a very tough race. I mean, I don't think I was on pace with these guys, maybe just about actually, because there was no DRS, but it was close though. It was very, very close, and obviously without the pens, I wouldn't have finished in the top spot. But yeah, my goal, as always, is always to try and do well with the constructors. So hopefully my teammate, I think is Legend, can join us in the next races. Give us a bit of support.
I would say that, of course, constructors is always a good thing, but also, of course, you've won the Drivers' Championship as well. And what a perfect way to start. Is it too early to think about the championship? Because I always love to talk about the championship. We've only done one race, but what a way to start your 6th win of your career, your first win this season. Surely then you're championship favourite, aren't you?
No, there's a lot of championship favourites here. I think, who was it? Was it Marsky that put that on pole? I mean, what a lap. I mean, you know, and plus Lucas just made a bad call pitting onto the wets, because his pace was like ridiculous as well. So there's a lot of people out here that's fine. That's going to be fine for it. My goal is always just try and stay consistent.
And you certainly was consistent towards the end of the race. How difficult was it to keep yourself inside that 3-second gap then? Was you staring at that gap like I was? Because that was yo-yoing around, going up to 2 seconds, down to 1.5 and potentially. How difficult was it to keep your eyes focused on the road and not looking at that gap in the corner of the screen?
Well, to be honest, I didn't actually know that Marsky had a penalty until I think I overtook. What's his face? It wasn't beat. It was the other guy. Sorry, I forgot now.
Kiki, I
But I
guess.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't even know that he had a penalty. So I was just I was thinking more like maybe even a P2. But yeah, I had no idea.
I was just at the drama then, fantastic. Going on to China in a week's time then. We didn't have China in the original ALR calendar. So is that going to help or hinder you, do you reckon, then?
Well, I do like China. I'm gonna have to do a bit of time trial on it. I've not even touched the track yet on this game, but I do really like that track. And what did you say? There's no extras on it. It's just a normal race.
I think it is just a normal race. Don't quote me, though. I haven't looked at the calendar in the past hour.
Wait. Okay, it is what it is. But I enjoyed the little thing that we had there with the weather. Something to spice up this 100% league. Uh, and yeah, it's a shame about Camaro, man. Sorry to Camaro. Hopefully he's going to stay with us because I'm sure he must have watched that and thought like it's a shame that he missed out on that because he probably could have done well there. But yeah, on to China. We'll see how it goes. And good racing, everyone, as well. Well done to the podium. That was great racing.
Really well done today. Equals for 6 win of your career. Fantastic stuff indeed. Nosy said there's no wild card, so fantastic stuff. Marsky, only your, I think this is your third race of your career, and goodness gracious me, you was leading for probably 90% that race, and you got that penalty just towards the end of it in the final stretch. How difficult is that to process, or are you happy just being on the podium?
A bit of both, to be fair. After the season's over,
Ouch,
I'm
muted.
happy to be on the podium. But kicking myself because, like I say, I was ahead for so long, and then to get the penalty right towards the end, it's it's annoying, but it is what it is. I'm just glad to be on the podium and racing well again.
Goodness me, more than racing well, you was absolutely phenomenal. And I felt the more the race went on, the more you got into your own because at the early stages then you was in quite a comfortable fourth position. The top three was starting to pull away and you was comfortable for the rest of the field. But as the race got on, I felt you was just getting quicker and quicker. Would you agree with that statement or do you feel that there might have been the weather that was able to play into your strengths as well?
I think the weather helped a little bit. Obviously, I had a bit of good luck with people, not doing well or pitching at the wrong time and stuff like that. But my tyre wear, I've kind of got on top of my tyre wear, so I felt that that helped me a bit, and everyone started to drop off. That's why I caught up a bit more.
And of course, when that rain did come down, Ekwell said that he quite enjoyed the like the wild card with the rain coming, then stopping, then coming again. How did you enjoy it? Did you feel that might be a bit of a gimmick, or did you quite enjoy the challenge?
To be fair, I quite enjoyed it. To be fair, when I seen it put on the Discord, I was a bit like, great. I've only got a dry setup, so I'm gonna have to work with it. But no, it was quite enjoyable. It's nice to have different variations and stuff. It helps different abilities get closer to other players and stuff like that. So some better in the wet than the dry, and it's definitely a different take. It adds to the spectacle.
I certainly loved it. It made the race absolutely spicy, especially towards the end. It was fantastic. And halfway through that race, then, as I mentioned, then you and your teammate was quite close on the road up until where Justify unfortunately had an issue in turn five. I was talking about maybe having team calls and maybe team strategy more in this championship than other championships in ALR. Was you and Justify maybe thinking about any team calls, or was you just trying to? This is the first race. Maybe it's too early to think about team calls.
Yeah, I think it's too early to think about team calls and stuff. We need to figure out how we're going to get on further down the season. Everything's to play for. There's a long season, so let's see where we go.
And China next week, is it going to be another front row start, or are you going to try and get that pole position? Because your teammate stole your thunder towards the end there in today's race.
I know, yeah, there was no team orders there, was there? No, China, I usually go pretty well at China, don't I? So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think I won it in bronze, not last season before, so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Really good stuff. Well done, Marsky. Your first podium, and only your third start. Fantastic stuff indeed. And R2 Beat. Talking of drivers that have had a success around Australia. R2 Beat won around here in silver a season or two ago. Finished third today, R2 Beat. But I must say, you was always there or thereabouts. And this is the kind of format where you really excel in today. And I must say that at the beginning of the race, I thought that you was certainly on for a podium. But how would you describe that race from your point of view?
Really intense, but a lot of fun. Battles all over the place. The little mistakes in the rain makes it so much fun. People make minor mistakes, and we need to adjust. We're not pros, so yeah, I really like it to drive like this. And yeah, with the changing conditions, you also need to make the right strategy calls. I made those spot on, I believe, and um, uh, for the rest of the evening, I watched the back of Marv K's Ferrari. I couldn't get past him, but it really was fun.
I was talking in commentary about it's not really much difference between a dry and a wet setup, and Morski was quite quick down that back straight. Then, is that true that there's differences between a dry and a wet setup, or am I just talking out my rear?
For my side, I just put a little bit more wing and make my front end a little bit softer. But maybe that's not the way to go. Maybe the esporters go the other way around. But for my likings, I do that, and my pace was okay, I believe, tonight.
If it works for you, then that's all that matters, in my opinion. And of
Exactly.
course,
So I'm not a professor, so I really don't know who's right or wrong. But yeah, do what you like and where you are confident that your car is going to do everything the same. And yeah,
I would certainly compare you very close to Alan Prost because you are very methodical, actually. Because you did mention that you're not a professor, but I disagree. I think you was absolutely pristine in that race. And of course, talking of which, actually, you did make the strategy calls absolutely superbly well. Of course, with former champion in gold, Percy put on the wet tyres. How difficult is it to stay on the island in that heavy rain shower towards the end of the race? And you guys have been racing well over an hour at that point, and that heavy rain came down. How difficult was it to keep your concentration and to keep it out of the wall?
yeah, it was like a bit of everything. We needed to focus on what was the best strategy. So, do I need to go to the wet? Is Percy going to the traffic? Does it work, or is it really much faster? I really didn't know, and you don't have a coach, so you need to figure it out on your own and keep your car out of the wall. So yeah, it's really intense, and for 100% race with wet conditions, it's even more intense. And this, yeah, it's a half street circuit, so yeah, you don't have a lot of places where you can easily watch at your at your screen to get all the information you need in 3 seconds or something.
And I
And
talk. Oh, sorry.
no, 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 continue.
You'd thought I've been chatting away for 2.5 hours. You thought I'd be all out of gas, and then
Yeah.
finally, then we and finally, then we're talking about street circuit and potentially going to going to China next week. Then of course, there's no wild cards in China next week. It's going to be a straightforward race. How are you happy that we're going back to a traditional circuit, or did you quite enjoy the challenge of street circuit today in Australia?
Australia, I really like. So my first race in silver, my finishing position was 16, and I was really off the pace. And today everything went really well, and it's yeah, I really like the track. And China I also like. So, but that doesn't say anything about where I'm going to finish.
Don't worry, I won't remember this, but I'll say it to Luke next week. Thank you very
Okay.
much. But guys, that's been a fantastic race. What a podium we had as well, and what a way to start the season. I am looking forward to the remainder of the season. It's been fantastic, isn't it? Luke will be taking you through the action from China from then on in. So a lot more decorum in the old commentary box. Thank goodness for you viewers, eh? I'll be back on gold, I think, on Sunday. I think we're in Bahrain, so a completely different challenge there for the drivers. We've gone from heavy rain here in Australia to very much beautiful sunshine in Bahrain. Serious Russia, congrats all. The Red Bull is not very good, says Serious Russia. Christy, good drive, guys. Fantastic stuff indeed. We've also got Jamie saying, can't feel my feet. Good race, guys. Top brother, said Christy. And also, I got to read this one out from White Shadow. Fantastic drive, guys, and fantastic commentary. Lovely stuff indeed. So I'll see you on Sunday. What a great race that's been. See you.